As ever on the ISPS Hunter PGA Tour of Australasia, there has been some world-class scoring so far this week here at the City Golf Club. Hello and welcome to steamy Toowoomba for the third round coverage on PGA TV of the Coca-Cola Queensland PGA Championship presented by Whipple's Volkswagen. So far this week, a couple of storylines. Defending champ Daniel Pearce has missed the cut. However, scoring conditions have been practically ideal with the softer conditions on the golf course, as shown by Darren Beck's 61 9 under par in the first round. But at the halfway mark, we have two leaders, Aaron Price and Josh Younger. They're at 12 under par and currently have a two-shot buffer. So that's enough from me. Let's get to the golf. Over to you guys, Ewan Porter and Todd Woodbridge.
Thanks very much, Ali. Good afternoon, everybody. Great to be with you here at the City Golf Club in Toowoomba. And alongside of you, Ewan, fantastic to be able to join you in commentary. Here at the City Golf Club, though, we can see some low scoring. And on day one, Darren Beck equalled the course record with a 61, matched a course record. You're going to tell us about that, but you've got to be careful here. If you get offline, you can be in trouble.
Well, we had breakfast this morning with Steve Jeffris, who was alluding to the fact that to begin his second round yesterday, he hit what he thought was a fairly decent tee shot. Got up there, it was actually out of bounds on the left-hand side,
Yes.
which is only 5-10 metres off the fairway. And that's a perfect indication of how this golf course in Toowoomba is. You've only got to be a little bit offline and serious trouble lurks.
Yeah, well, Darren matched Tim Hart's record of 61 back in 2016. But let's take a look at the day two leaderboard. And this is what it looks like. Up at the top is Josh Younger and Aaron Price, both shooting terrific 6-unders in round two. But always hard to match a great round. Darren Beck only shooting 1 under in the second round.
Yeah, but don't be fooled by that. I mean, 69 around here is still a pretty solid score. A couple of veterans there on the PGA Tour of Australasia. Aaron Price, Matthew Miller, he won in New Zealand last month, seemingly always up there in contention. But a good chance for a couple of these younger players to really stamp their authority and make a name for themselves. Guys like Maverick Ancliffe there and Jordan Mullaney.
Yeah, so second page and lots of good scoring opportunities. It will this afternoon be interesting to see with the weather, because the first 2 days here at the City Golf Club, we had some storms roll in the afternoon, and both days players had to come off course with lightning. Lots of rain, so softened the greens quite a bit and very receptive.
Yeah, well, when we arrived yesterday morning, the temperature was well up into the mid to high 30s and rather humid. And then when that storm came in, the temperature dropped right down into the low 20s. And as you said, the greens were a little softer, so a little more of an opportunity on the weekend.
Well, let's get into some golf. We're going to head out to the 9th hole, where Steve Jeffris is playing his approach shot. Here he is. Tough pin on this one, back right pin, hard to get to. I've been out and watched a few this morning, and there's lots of bogeys sitting on this hole. Yeah,
you were mentioning to me that you've only got to be a little bit over the back here, and out of bounds is there. But well, Steve Jeffris not worrying about that. He's almost holed it.
I didn't see any of that while I was out. I watched two groups come through, and I saw 4 bogeys. So that's an easy tap in for Steve. So let's take a look at the leaderboard and how play stands at the moment. And there we have it. 3 tied at the top at 13 under.
Brett Rankin, Aaron Price and Josh Younger. Josh Younger was top 10 last month at the Oates Victorian Open. Aaron Price, a winner at the 2013 New South Wales Open, looking for his second victory on this tour. And Matthew Miller, winner of the inaugural Rebel New Zealand Sport Masters last month. And Darren Beck, a man who shot 61 the opening day, won this tournament back in 2008, Darren Beck.
Yeah, so he likes it here at the City Golf Club. It's the 10th playing here in Toowoomba of the Queensland PGA Championships, presented to us by Whipple's Volkswagen. Great to have their support throughout, and of course Coca-Cola leading the sponsorship. So as we head through the pages here,
Rick Kulak's caddied for Marcus Fraser at the World Super 6 in Perth last week, and maybe he learnt a few things from Marcus and got a different perspective of things from the other side of the bag. Corey Crawford, he was third last month at the Oates Victorian Open, so a man in form.
Let's head back to the green on the 9th. Steve Jeffris, do you like him like this, don't you?
Yeah, that's a pretty straight putt, that one, from about 3 inches. His caddy Robin Beecher there, holding the flag. And there won't be too many birdies on the 9th hole.
Yeah, good club in, Robin. Well done.
Steve just gained his Asian Tour card for 2018. So another player in fine form.
Other players in that group, Nick Vogue and Mav Antcliffe.
Yeah, Nick Vogue, a rookie professional from New Zealand. So I believe is Brodie Martin from WA. A couple of years ago was the Australian Trainee of the Year. Playing with Rick Kulaks there. That is Brodie Martin.
So green speed's kind of slow because of the rain, rolling beautifully, but of what we've been watching so far, a lot of players tending to pull up a little short on a lot of putts.
Yeah, that's a difficult adjustment for these players to make when you're used to, they would have prepared for a particular green speed prior to the event, played rounds 1 and 2 with quicker greens, and then you've got to all of a sudden make this adjustment to slower greens. Got to have your wits about you now. Rick Kulak's always a great putter. I've jinxed him.
Lots of undulations in these greens too, and plateaus for players to have to reach in certain parts of it.
Yeah, you're right. The ball can feed down near the hole if you hit a good approach shot, but if you get the ball on the incorrect part of the green, it can leave you with some tricky putts, especially lagging it down there close as Brodie Martin taps in his putt with interested spectator in the background there, that magpie.
So this is Nathan Green with his second into the par 5 10th.
Got off to a great start today, birdied the first 3 holes, but has dropped a couple since. The 10th 439 metre par 5, but don't be fooled by that yardage. The second shot plays straight uphill, and a very good shot there from Nathan Green.
We could see there too how receptive they were. The green stopping easily.
Absolutely, so. And a player the calibre of Nathan Green, a winner on the PGA Tour, made the cut at the US Masters in 2010. So, you know, it goes to show just how good these players are, players like Nathan Green in the field.
It's tough, isn't it, though, here, because we're seeing a lot of players out there pulling their own buggy. It's not what we're used to seeing when we watch some of the bigger events where there's ropes down the sides of fairways. And, you know, I'm out there watching today thinking, oh, I should be out there pulling the bag for someone helping, but we've got a job to do here.
And it's hard for, yeah, exactly. And it's hard for these players as well, because a lot of them will have played the Victorian Open 2 weeks ago. Yep. They would have played the World Super 6 in Perth last week, both with big galleries, both with huge opportunities to get on the European Tour or play their way onto other tours and courtesy of invitations. So to come here where they've got to pull their own bag, play for a little bit less prize money, but there's still such good opportunities. You win this tournament, I mean, it gives you a 2-year exemption on the PGA Tour of Australasia. So it's just something that you know, they've got to adjust to very quickly.
Well, let's head back out to the 9th, the approach shot here.
That's Kieran Muir from New Zealand. Kieran Muir was runner-up at the Queensland Open about 3 months ago.
We see a lot of balls landing there. That's a safe shot, middle of the green, putt into the corner.
Yeah, it's a smart play. Now this is 21-year-old Blake Proverbs from the Gold Coast. Had his rookie year on our tour last year. Won the Southport Pro-Am.
So this putt looking like it's going to be a little left to right up the hill.
It does. It's definitely going to be a little bit slower, this one. Big elevation change, isn't it, Todd, that approach into the 10th green from down there in the fairway. 1 under par today. And you're right, look at that putt breaking away to the right.
Yeah, there's lots of, as we talked about, lots of slopes and various pieces to these greens, and you have to leave your ball in the right place if you're going to make putts. Get above the hole and sides of hole, and it's very tricky.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Talk us through the grass around here, because if you've been watching a bit of the US PGA Tour Riviera this week, they talk about the Kikuyu. Lots of Kikuyu here.
And it's another adjustment these players have to make, coming off link-style golf a couple of weeks ago. Perfectly manicured couch grass in Perth last week, and you come here and you're playing on Kikuyu grass, and much thicker style of grass. Those growing up in Sydney and the New South Wales region would be fairly used to this type of grass, but this grass really grabs your club. So some players would even make adjustments with the type of clubs they're using, a little more bounce on their wedges perhaps.
So live at the 9th, and another player coming up well short. Slow putt from that part of the green, slightly uphill.
Yeah, a couple of New Zealanders in that group, Campbell Rawson there, and Kieran Muir, who I mentioned earlier. The other player in the group, Jordan Mullaney from New South Wales.
They'll be looking forward to heading home next week, the next couple of events in New Zealand.
That's right, the New Zealand PGA and then the New Zealand Open down in Queenstown. And speaking of New Zealand,
Michael Long makes his home in Perth these days, though.
he does. 3 victories on the ISPS Honda PGA Tour of Australasia. 17 years between his second and his third win. He won the Victorian Open just a couple of years ago, the 49-year-old.
I played with him in the Pro-Am that week, and we were chatting about what he was doing with his career path, working in pro shop back in Perth and running business and coming back out to play. It was a great thing to be able to watch him get back in the heat of battle and win.
Absolutely, and perhaps that, oh, what a good putt here. Oh, good try from Kieran Muir. Yeah, perhaps that that role he had working as general manager and in the pro shop there over in WA, perhaps it just gave him a different perspective on his golf and life in general. Funny to see a New Zealander wearing all black.
Tell you what, not as hot out there as it was yesterday. You wouldn't want all black out when it's 33, 36 degrees here. So here's Nathan Green for birdie.
Man who in his prime was one of the best putters out there on the tour.
And centre. Nice birdie for Nathan Green.
Good crowds out here at Toowoomba. They really support this event well. We were here last night, Todd, in the clubhouse, and hundreds of people in here.
That was
people
rocking.
Dancing away.
Yeah.
It was the place to be.
It's been a fabulous week up here so far. Lots of different activities. So we're back on the 9th green.
And Jordan Mullaney here, uphill putt. Oh, pours it in the centre. Well, we were talking about how difficult that 9th hole is, and we come on air and we see Stephen Jeffris and Jordan Mullaney make birdies.
Well, I guess I was watching the groups that started earlier that weren't scoring quite as well, but it's a nasty little area at the back. If you get a bit too aggressive and you go over the back, you're only about 2 metres from being out of bounds.
Now Stephen Jeffris at 10. The last iron shot we saw him hit, he almost holed on 9. This a par 5, remember?
He's come up a little short and left.
Well, can only be his caddy's fault there, Robin Beecher. I don't think that was anything to do with Steve, that one. Now this Nick Vogt from New Zealand, the rookie professional, graduated just over a year ago from Iowa State University, was once ranked as high as top 20 in the World Amateur Golf Rankings.
Started today at 7 under. Still there.
So he's trying to work that one in from left to right. And it didn't move, but still on the green in 2 with an eagle putt on a par 5. Never a bad thing.
Gives you a good indication there of the elevation changes and hills that are here at the City Golf Club.
Good to see provincial distributors putting their support behind this event.
So this is Maverick Antcliffe. He's come out of the same pathway of US College, currently still resides in Augusta.
He does, went to Augusta State University, actually a fellow that I went to my high school in Sydney, graduated from there not too long ago, Mitch Krivelich. Patrick Reed also went there for a year, was a member of the winning NCAA side a few years ago. And Maverick just gained his Asian Tour card for 2018. So a lot of things to look forward to for the young man from the Gold Coast.
He comes from Bow Desert, which has become incredibly world famous because of one of our great golfers in terms of Jason Day. I actually had to look up where Bow Desert was, and then I realised it was more or less a suburb, but it's become famous in the US. We hear from it all the time.
Yeah, this could be a new tourist destination for all our overseas visitors.
Well, let's take a look at how things stand so far through round 3.
Three-way tie for the lead. Aaron Price, Josh Younger and Brett Rankin. One stroke ahead of Daniel Fox, the veteran from WA, won the Western Australian PGA back in 2015, and a great round there from Michael Choi, 63 today.
We'll take a short break. We'll be back with more from the Coca-Cola Queensland PGA Championships.
I'm Dave Branston. I'm from Sale Golf Club, and you're watching PGA TV.
G'day, I'm My Golf Ambassador Jason Day. Welcome to My Golf, the first step for kids to learn the game. You'll have an awesome time picking up the basics with your mates. Golf is fun, easy to learn, and a great way to meet new friends. Have a great time, and I'll see you out on the golf course.
City style meets country hospitality at the beautiful 2013 TripAdvisor winner of excellence, City Golf Club Motel. 45 rooms created for your comfort, all with stunning designer effects and decor. Relax with a dip in the pool, a round of golf, or simply just unwind. Great dining, entertainment and function options are available at the nearby City Golf Club. Plus, our courtesy transport is on hand for your convenience. City Golf Club Motel, corporate, social and golf packages available.
Well, great to have your company at the 2018 Queensland PGA Championships. It's presented by Whipple's Volkswagen, and we're at the City Golf Club in Toowoomba. It's Todd Woodbridge alongside of Ewan Porter. And breeze getting up, we can see in the trees there this afternoon here, making conditions just a little more difficult as we head to the 10th. Steve Jeffris' third shot.
Saw him hit his second shot from the middle of the fairway and just came up short and left. Not his greatest approach, but an up and down here for a birdie, coming off a birdie at number 9. See, he was in the sand there. He won't be too disappointed with that. Left himself 7 or 8 feet for back-to-back birdies.
One of the unique features of the City Golf Club and this part of Australia is the deep red sand in the bunkers here.
Over at 9, tall Brett Rankin, currently tied for the lead at -13.
He's going to take this over that right side of that mound, and it hooks heavily off there.
Good speed, just didn't give it enough air to the right. Going to leave himself 4 feet for par. Been a standout performer the last few years on the Sunshine Tour here in Queensland. A couple of top 20s at the Australian Open Championship in recent times, so very good player. Played with Brett on a few occasions. Great ball striker. He's just got to take that next step. He's not far away. Perhaps it's this week. Over at 10, we saw the approach from Maverick Antcliffe. It's been a struggle today for Antcliffe. He's +3 on the round. This for an eagle.
Oh, burns the edge. A nice birdie. Gets one back with those drop shots. But
him and Jack Wilson together would be an interesting group. Plenty of hair between them.
he's got the famed Aussie white zinc going as well. Yeah, 5 under, finds himself falling backwards in the field a little today, though.
Yeah, can't afford to be dropping too many shots around here. Many players, or most players, in the top 20 under par for their rounds. Michael Choi showing what can be done, shooting a 7 under par 63. Steve Jeffris, this for a birdie at 10 to get him to -11 and only 2 off the pace. Just lacked a bit of speed there. Be careful, Steve. Putting, probably the weakness in Steve Jeffris' game. Not a poor putter, but he's such a good ball striker that he sometimes doesn't hold as many putts as what he should.
This is Brett Rankin. This is for par on the 9th. Tied for the lead at 13 under at the moment.
Good
Nicely hold.
Yeah, good 2-putt.
As they finish up their front 9. No par 5s on the front 9 here at the City Golf Club. Par 70, course plays just over 6,000 metres, 6,500 yards.
You don't see the scorecard like that too often, do you? Par 33 on the front and 37 on the back. So probably more scoring opportunities on the back 9 for these players. A couple of par 5s and some short par 4s.
Yeah, chatting to some of the players, you know, the 9th and the first hole both can play difficult. They're the tougher of the 2 holes on the front. Then you've got some scoring opportunities. They feel, though, once they make the turn, that it opens up a bit, and that's where they've got to make their charge.
That's right, yeah. I mean, the back 9, there's still some tight holes on the back 9, but probably a little more punishing on the front off the tee.
So this is Kieran Muir. His second shot into the par 5 10th.
He's had a couple of top 20s already this season on the PGA Tour of Australasia, so he's been in solid form. Runner-up, as I mentioned before, at the Queensland Open in October, and a great shot there from Muir. That for Eagle to get to -11. You won't be able to see how close that is from down there in the fairway with such an elevated approach up to the green, but he's going to be pleased when he gets up there.
So not a great position here. Trying to hook one round this tree, run it up to the front of this green. So that was tree trouble. And that did not find the centre of the club, did it? That
No,
was
brave move there from the cameraman. That ball can't have missed the camera by all that much.
Like a pinball machine.
So this is the 12th hole. Short iron in and gets it to stick for a nice birdie opportunity.
Tricky green, that 12th green. As we head back to the 10th hole, Mullaney. Just surveying the scene for his second shot. A lot more players with beards these days. It's good to see.
If you can grow one.
You actually get a little bit of an indication here by the camera angle as to the upslope that he's facing. So maybe take half a club extra. Got to be very cognizant of getting your weight through to your left side and your follow through. That shot was all over the flag, 10 feet short. Very good approach from Mullaney.
We saw a really good ball strike there. Just tell us a little about striking off the Kikuyu in the fairways, because you have to get ball first.
You do. Very thick grass Kikuyu. You mentioned Riviera before. That's a very tight Kikuyu grass and much easier to make a pure strike. Here, the club can really stick in the ground. So perhaps you have your weight a little bit, just slightly more on your left side, and you've almost got to be a little more conscious of trying to take a divot after the ball. Now we saw Rawson, his second shot, pinballing around in the trees. He's over there somewhere.
Well, it's the old compound error at the moment for him, isn't it? So this is the 9th. This is what I believe is a second shot.
Well, you see, believe that was Jake Mcleod there. You see, he had to really swing the club around his body. And although he's missed the green, he's left himself in the correct position to chip straight up the green at that hole location there on the back right.
Yeah, leave it over on the right side. You're coming in over a bunker and you have that little shoulder to have to play off as well. Hard to get the ball close. There's Mr. Consistency over the last couple of years here. Lost in a playoff here last year, but overall, he's always thereabouts, isn't he?
Matthew Miller, he won the Order of Merit on our tour back in 2015. He won last month in New Zealand. Played the European Tour back in 2006 for 4 straight years. His playing partner there walking up onto the green, Darren Beck, Mr. 61 from the opening round. You mentioned earlier, Todd, that he tied the course record there with a 61. Tim Hart 2 years ago, 61 here.
Now
Triple bogeyed the last hole for a 61.
It's an intriguing horror story come good. You still shoot 61, but the opportunity to shoot something like a 58. Bogey for 59. What a story.
Bogey for a 59. He needed a double bogey to win the tournament, and he made a triple bogey, a bit like John van der Velde back in 1999. A double bogey wins the tournament. It goes to show it's not easy to close.
Let's get back to the 10th.
Yeah, we saw this shot before from Mulaney approaching the 10th hole. Beautiful looking shot it was, all over the flag, about 10 feet short.
Tough to get it all the way back to that pin, but by where they've left it, leaving themselves nice uphill putts, can be aggressive. So this is Matt Miller just taking a look where it comes off that shoulder, and that really kicks hard to the left.
Yeah, that's going to be a really tricky chip down the hill, breaking to the left for Matt Miller. But first, see Jake Macleod.
And the spectator's working hard on his swing there, one of the youngsters.
Jake Macleod finished 11th at the Australian PGA Championship at Royal Pines back in December. Grew up playing his junior and amateur golf with Cameron Smith, the two of them pretty close friends. And a big fan of the man bun, Jake Macleod.
You either have the man bun or the beard. You don't have both, apparently. He's at 9 under. Be nice to get away with an up and down here.
Maybe looking from this position to release something up there to the hole, and you've got to be careful not to go long here, Todd.
I guess the other part here is getting through the Kikuyu. You have to have the right bounce on your wedges. Would that be fair?
Yeah, correct. As opposed to somewhere like where you play down in Melbourne, where it's very tight grass, you have too much bounce on your club down there. Very easy to thin the ball, whereas you want the opposite here with the thick Kikuyu grass. You need a little bit of bounce so it slides through the grass and doesn't get stuck. Jake Macleod won't be too pleased with that one. +1 for the day, and 30 feet left for a par.
So Matt Miller coming on to the 9th now.
Didn't expect it to pull up that quickly. First bounce was a little softer than he anticipated. Really admire Matt Miller for the way he hangs in there with his, or has hung in there with his career. He walked away from the game briefly a few years ago and took up a teaching role at Gold Creek down in Canberra, where he's from. People down there, the staff down there, kind enough to still let him dabble in playing tournaments. And he's played so well that he's back playing full-time again. He just missed out on gaining his European Tour card at the Q School back in December, but still believes he has the game to compete at the highest level.
I imagine there's bit like what we spoke about with Michael Long. If you get that opportunity to get back out there and you get the juices flowing and you start to play well, it's sort of like somebody that has never worked in an office and gets put in an office. It's not the same. It's hard. And to get back out on course, well, you run with it.
You certainly do, and especially when you're playing as consistently well as what Matt Miller has the last 3 or 4 years.
So Jake Mcleod with a par putt. This is going to take good line and speed if he's to make this. This has a good 3, 4, maybe 5 foot of break in it.
Another man using the claw grip there. Saw James Nitties use that to great effect last week in Perth and never really got that started on the correct line. Not too dissimilar to what Brett Rankin did in the group in front. And the players, you see the mini leaderboard there on the left-hand side, so they know where they stand. Now Muir. This for an eagle at the 10th. This to get him to -11. Only 2 strokes off the lead. Up the hill. Oh, and he's poured it in the centre. Kieran Muir.
So they'll take him to 11 under. Take him from tied 11th all the way to tied 5th.
Let's see if Darren Beck can learn from Jake Mcleod's putt. We've seen 2 players putt from this point and they haven't allowed anywhere near enough break.
He's, I think, already under it.
You can tell he just wasn't quite aiming far enough to the right there, but speed not too bad and can't be too harsh. I mean, a 4 on the 9th hole is a very good score.
Yep. Yeah, it's played tough today, even though we did see a couple of birdies. We've seen a lot of bogeys come through.
Yeah, it's very daunting. I was standing on that tee yesterday thinking, how in the world would I get the ball on the fairway here? Now Campbell Rawson. Eagle on the 10th. 2 eagles.
2 beautiful putts. Well read there. So this for bogey will hold.
Matt Miller, this for a par on 9. His chip, just we saw come up a little bit shy. This will be a tricky putt, Todd. Downhill, breaking slightly to the left, and he has a very, very unique putting style, Matt Miller. Has his hands set up slightly behind the ball. And watch him when he takes the putter away here. He kind of moves it over to the heel and then lifts the putter, takes it outside. Kind of almost looks yippy, but he's a great, look at this, see that? And he putts as well as anybody.
But it's the getting through impact that it counts, doesn't it? And a nice save.
He knows what he's doing. Grew up playing my amateur golf with Darren Beck. Played out at the Castle Hill Club in Western Sydney, and great player, but one of the nicest guys out there.
Well hold. So they'll move to the 10th, start their back 9, and opportunity for eagles and birdies on the 10th. Let's take a look at how things stand on day 3 of this Coca-Cola Queensland PGA Championship. And up the top of the leaderboard, Brett Rankin and Josh Younger continue to lead at 14 under. Aaron Price, Daniel Fox, Michael Choi finished with a round of 7 under earlier today. He sits at 11. We'll be taking a break. We'll be back in just a few moments, live from the City Golf Club in Toowoomba.
Hi, I'm Aaron Townsend from Charlestown Golf Club, and you're watching PGA TV.
On Overboost, the Amarok V6 delivers 33 kilowatts more power than all those other utes. And now, with 3.5-ton towing and starting at $54,990 drive away, there's never been a better time to own one.
An all-you-can-eat Sunday breakfast buffet for under $20? Well, of course, it would have to be the City Golf Club. Treat the family and enjoy all your breakfast favourites every Sunday, along with some special Asian dishes too. Sunday breakfast at the City Golf Club. Sensational!
G'day, I'm My Golf Ambassador Jason Day. Welcome to My Golf, the first step for kids to learn the game. You'll have an awesome time picking up the basics with your mates. Golf is fun, easy to learn, and a great way to meet new friends. Have a great time, and I'll see you out on the golf course.
City style meets country hospitality at the beautiful 2013 TripAdvisor winner of excellence, City Golf Club Motel. 45 rooms created for your comfort, all with stunning designer effects and decor. Relax with a dip in the pool, a round of golf, or simply just unwind. Great dining, entertainment and function options are available at the nearby City Golf Club. Plus, our courtesy transport is on hand for your convenience. City Golf Club Motel, corporate, social and golf packages available.
The 9th hole here at City Golf Club is actually one of the most challenging off the tee. It is super narrow and it's still pretty lengthy, 400 metre par 4, and it's a dogleg up around to the left-hand side. So trees surrounding the fairway, a fairway bunker that could come into play as well. So it is really important to hit your drive on the short stuff. As I've mentioned, the 9th hole really is one of the most narrow holes, especially off the tee on the entire golf course. So once you get up to around about the 250 mark to 260 mark, you can see this fairway shrinks. All of a sudden, it's pretty narrow up here, but then uphill to the green, which is guarded by the front left bunker and a back right hand bunker as well. But most of the putting surface is actually blind from the approach shot, so trusting that yardage is going to be really important, especially from these uphill lies. Perhaps one of the more subtle features of the 9th hole is actually the swales around to the left-hand side that will push any golf balls that are pulled off the approach all the way down into those trees. So that's something you need to be really wary of, especially with these grainy lies. Now the green itself, well, it's pretty flat by Toowoomba standards, but you can see a little bit of a flat section in the front, a small ridge running through the green over here, and then a little bit of a gradual rise into that back right-hand corner. So again, trying to give yourself a straight putt uphill is going to be really important.
Ali Whitaker taking us through how to play the 9th hole. And we pick up the final group here of Daniel Fox, Aaron Price and Josh Younger. This is Aaron Price, good drive. And a good angle into this pin.
Yeah, actually, sorry, Todd, I think this is his third shot here.
There he is. I thought he was further back.
But you're right about the good angle. This is a little closer to the hole than where Jake Mcleod was, but at least he has room here to chip up the green. And grown up playing my junior golf with Aaron, this has always been one of the strengths of his game.
I tell you what, though, if he drove it there, how good would that be?
It would, absolutely. 370 metres uphill.
You could see there, we were talking about the difficulty of coming out of the Kikuyu. That one got stuck just a little bit with the club, didn't come through smoothly.
Here's Josh Younger. Josh, runner-up, the 2014 Australian Masters at Metropolitan Golf Club. Was 7th last month at the Oates Victorian Open, so a man in form. He's had a couple of runner-ups actually on the ISPS Honda PGA Tour of Australasia. Coming out of the bunker here, ball slightly below his feet. It's downhill and breaking left when it lands on the green. Oh, and he just overread it.
Catches the hole. Unlucky not to hole it in the end.
Don't be too disappointed. No, that was a great shot, Josh.
At the same time, yeah, take your medicine and make par and move on. Let's head over to the 10th. This is the second of Brett Rankin. Got a good drive away. Good opportunity to get one close for eagle here.
4 under par on his round, tied for the lead at the moment, so a good opportunity to put a little breathing space between he and the field. We saw a couple of eagles in the group in front. That will be for an eagle for Brett Rankin to get to minus 16.
And one of the few players we've seen actually get past the pin on the 10th. So Daniel Fox for a birdie. Slow putt this one. Haven't seen anybody get this to the hole.
Good call, Todd. Not a bad lead, a couple feet short.
Yeah, it looks as if it's a flat putt, but it actually, because of the drainage and the slope of the land, it doesn't get there into that corner.
Daniel Fox, another man who went to college in the US in Little Rock, Arkansas, lived there for about 15 years. Played golf with former President Bill Clinton, who's from Little Rock, Arkansas. Played the Challenge Tour in Europe last year, a man who still loves his golf at the age of 41. Always searching for perfection. Aaron Price here has 12 feet up the hill, breaking slightly to his right. This for a par. This to remain at minus 13. He's currently 1 off the lead, but we saw Brett Rankin hit his second shot on 10. Fairly close, so don't want to be dropping too many strokes at this point. Recently adopted a cross-handed grip with his putting, Aaron. Which is a good way to take the hands out of it, just rock the shoulders.
Oh, and what a save.
Beautiful putt.
So after 9 holes, 13 under, 1 under for the front 9, coming off a pair of 64s on day 1 and day 2. So this is Rankin now for eagle. This one should head just a little right to left.
Should be caddying for him, Todd. Reading his putts. It's still a birdie. It's minus 15 in the lead. Yeah, this is Chris Muir here for a birdie. Victorian.
He's got a good read off that previous putt of Brett Rankin. Just needs to keep his speed up. Die that little bit left as we saw.
Yeah, just fooled a little bit. He was top 10 on the European Tour in Morocco a couple of years ago, playing on an invitation at Chris Muick, sorry. So can play. Now we saw that wonderful bunker shot just before from Josh Younger on number 9. This for a par. Good save. A couple of good saves there from Younger and Price. And look at the local youngster out there caddying for him. What a great opportunity. It's you know, something to remember for the rest of his life. And who knows, could be playing here in this championship himself in a
there's
few
been
years.
plenty of good players that got the motivation and inspiration by those opportunities.
Now here's a man who was paired with Dustin Johnson and Adam Scott the first 2 rounds of the US Masters at Augusta National about 4 years ago. Antonio Medaka from South Australia. How would that be, Todd? Your first Masters?
Well,
playing with those 2.
Yes, trying to calm yourself down and keep the nerves at bay would be very difficult. Anthony Medaka. Watched him win the Asian Masters tournament.
Master of the Amateurs.
There we go, the Master of the Amateurs at Royal Melbourne.
Won by about 7, one in a canter.
Which got him that opportunity to play at Augusta. So this is where the course can get tricky. You'd get off the fairway a little bit, you can get some fairly interesting lies.
You can, and this is not a great angle for Dale Brandt Richards from the Mona Vale Club in Sydney. Coming out of the rough, not much green to work with. Going to be difficult to stop the ball near the hole. But as I alluded to before, coming from the Sydney region, would be used to this Kikuyu grass. Let's see how he handles it here. A pretty good shot. he's going to be fairly pleased with that one. He was top 20 at the Australian Open at the Australian Golf Club just a couple of months ago. He was the Rookie of the Year. The New South Wales Rookie of the Year in 2016, Grant Richards.
Tell me, how difficult and different is it for these pros? Obviously, some of them pushing their own buggies and not having a caddy to work through their shot. And does that make a big difference for some of them?
For some of them it does. It's really an individual thing. You see out on the PGA Tour and the tours around the world, some players like a caddy who just will chat to them. Other players really want to work with their caddies over each and every shot and every putt. Some get very analytical.
So this is Darren Beck, second. It's got a good line, if he's got the right club.
He's trying to fade that one in, and a good shot from Darren Beck. Good shot. Try an excellent shot. He's got about 8 feet for an eagle. Now this is Daniel Gale from the Castle Hill Club. This is his first tournament as a professional. Played with him a couple of years ago at the New South Wales Open when he was one of the top amateurs. Daniel Gale, about 3 weeks ago, on back-to-back days, shot rounds of 12 under par 60. In competition at Castle Hill and Linwood Country Club, both very strong golf courses, shot 60, 12 under par, both days.
Well, there's a story that needs to be done on that. I hadn't heard that. That's quite incredible. Seriously.
Saw it on Instagram first.
Wow.
Breaking news off Instagram.
Well, there was social media. I've got to start following. Well, that just goes to show what he's capable of, though, and he can shoot low, not scared to do it. And to do it back-to-back, well, that's rare.
And look at him here. 6 under par after 2 rounds in the top 20 in his first professional tournament. I think you'll be hearing more from Daniel Gale as we look at Jake Mcleod. Same bunker on 10 that Steve Jeffris was in. And he's not going to be too pleased with that one.
Any difference in playing out of these types of bunkers? We've talked about the colour, that red, earthy Australian sand. You know, I guess depending on the weather, they can bake very hard and very dry. We had a bit of rain last night, so they've been able to fluff them up just a little bit.
Well, that's where it gets tricky, Todd, because the sand can get pretty firm. Matt Miller with a great chip there on 10 from long and left. The sand can be pretty firm, but the grass around the greens is the opposite. It's very thick. So you want minimal bounce for one, but you want a lot of bounce on your wedge for the other. So it's really 2 different techniques. These pros are wary enough, they're good enough to be able to vary their technique for a particular shot, but yeah, it can be pretty tricky in these bunkers when the sand does get very firm.
It's a real what's in your bag moment.
It is.
You know, do you guys travel with variation of wedges with bounce? Do you keep them in your travel bag and take them in and out per tournament? Because you mentioned in Perth last week, very different surroundings and different chipping clubs required.
I did. I always did my homework in that regard. If I knew that I was going to be playing the last 3 weeks like these players have in Victoria, then in Perth, and then up here, I would know that the conditions were different. So perhaps one lob wedge might have 5 or 6 degrees bounce, another might have 10 or 11. I know that someone like Corey Paven, who had a great short game, he was just talented enough that he had a lob wedge with 4 or 5 degrees bounce, I believe. Just used it everywhere, and he used it to great effect. But other players chop and change it a little bit.
So this is Jake Mcleod's putt for birdie. We've seen this one rolled in. This one just a little longer. Breaks to his right.
Couple over par on the round. Needs to make something happen, Jake Mcleod. Will it start here on 10 with this birdie putt?
Yes, well done.
Appreciative gallery behind the green.
So back to 9 under.
And his playing partner, Darren Beck. We saw a wonderful second shot from the fairway. Hit a low fade that bounced up there to about 8-10 feet. This for an eagle. This putt would get him to -12 and 3 strokes behind our current leader, Brett Rankin.
And catapult him into a tie for 4th if he can make it.
And a similar putt to what Macleod just had, just a little shorter, so he'll know that it's breaking slightly right. Very good posture. His putt there. Yes, Darren Beck, eagle, -12. That's 3 eagles in the last 3 groups, Todd.
Yeah, well, there must be a line into that hole from that area there right now, because everybody's reading well, but pace is perfect in their putting as well. So very makeable opportunity on the 10th. And if you're not making birdie on this hole, you're dropping a shot or two to the field.
Absolutely.
We saw Steve Jeffris make a par, and that's going to hurt, as it seems, from what we're watching.
I've seen a couple of putts missed from this side of the hole. Both have missed left and short. It's not as quick as what the players think. Matt Miller pointed it out on the previous hole, as he has a very unique putting style. But I want you to focus on the positive. Watch how well he releases the putter here towards the hole. Beautifully done. -11, Matthew Miller. Currently in a tie for 5th, 4 strokes behind Brett Rankin. Should be his nickname, Matt Miller, top 5, because that's where he finishes in every single tournament.
Well, let's take a look at how things stand. And that's how it is. Brett Rankin with a 1-shot lead after playing the 10th, 5 under on the front 9 today. An excellent opening 9. Josh Younger, 2 under through his front 9. Michael Choi, he'll be joining us in just a little while, finished with 7 under today, 63 in the par 70. Second page, this is how things look. We're going to take a break and we'll be back with more live action from the City Golf Club in Toowoomba.
Hi there, I'm Steve Jeffris from Southport Golf Club on the Gold Coast. You're watching PGA TV.
The award-winning City Golf Club's Function Centre features fully appointed conference areas with rooms for all types of events and budgets in sumptuous catering. While you're here, relax, stay a while at the beautiful City Golf Club Boutique Motel. Why not take advantage of our bus service to the Brisbane West Wellcamp Airport? Book your next function at the award-winning City Golf Club Toowoomba.
On Overboost, the Amarok V6 delivers 33 kilowatts more power than all those other utes. And now, with 3.5-ton towing and starting at $54,990 drive away, there's never been a better time to own one.
Well, welcome back to the Coca-Cola Queensland PGA Championships presented by Whipple's Volkswagen. We've got a special guest with us right now here in the studio. And Michael Choi, congratulations on a terrific round today. 63, 7 under. Put yourself right into the meat of the tournament.
Yeah, it was. I needed a good round today to get myself in there, and yeah, I'm very pleased with the result. So hopefully another low one tomorrow.
Talk us through it. Good start on the front 9.
Yeah, it was sort of just like the first round. I went out that front 9 and 5 under, and sort of I've been playing that front 9 really well, and then I sort of go quiet and finish poorly on the back 9. So it was good to actually continue on and birdie the last 3 and finish off strong.
It's actually interesting you said that, because we were just talking about on air how the front 9 is a par 33, the back 9 is a par 37. So the back 9 seems to be more of a scoring opportunity, but you've done it the other way around.
Yeah. Oh, the first round I was actually not playing that bad, but got the rain delay and then came back and playing 17, finished double bogey. So I didn't. But besides that, I've been playing pretty solid. Yesterday it was a bit of a lull, but besides that, playing quite nicely.
Well, this is the first time our viewers have had an opportunity to look at the course this year. What are your thoughts on the course, and where do you see opportunity coming through? In round 4, you're right there. What holes are going to be pivotal?
Well, you want to get off to a fast start if you can, to sort of get the ball rolling. It's a sort of course where you sort of got a lot of short shots in, and if you're not making birdies early, it's sort of almost the pressure builds, because it feels like you're going backwards. If you're even 1 under through 6 or 7, it just feels like you're getting lapped. So it's not a necessity, but it would be nice to sort of roll a few in early and try and get the ball going early so you can sort of get the momentum up. Yeah.
Just taking a look at Kieran Muir's approach here into the 12th. Michael, you were 5th at the Western Australian Open back in October. You were only 3 strokes off the lead after a couple of rounds of the Victorian Open last month. What have you learnt from those experiences, and put that into practice tomorrow?
We'll just before you answer, we'll take a look here. It's second at 10 of Daniel Fox, 2 under today, 12 under total. Some pretty good opportunities on the 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. If you get your drive in play, you're probably coming in with anywhere from a 5 to a 7 iron. So
yeah, we've seen 3 eagles in the last three groups there. So just getting back to what I was mentioning before, 5th at the Western Australian Open in October. You were right there in contention after 36 holes last month at the Victorian Open. Michael Choi ready to take the next step?
Hopefully, yeah. Today I went, last month at the Vic Open I was in good position, only 3 off the lead, but I sort of tried to push a bit too hard and ended up going out in 40. So today I sort of try to stay a bit more patient and sort of try to let it happen. And then if it didn't go well, try and get away with a 2 under and not blow myself completely out of it. But
well, it sounds like you have practiced what you preach with the patience thing. You might have to let me in on that secret. I never did find that one out.
I haven't mastered it.
So stood away, come back in for a second time here. Josh Younger.
Michael, you would have played a bit of golf with Josh coming from Victoria.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good, consistent, solid player, isn't he?
Yeah, through the amateurs, state teams and that sort of thing. Yeah, he's a very solid golfer, Josh. He's been playing quite well too.
7th last month at the Victorian Open. That one all over the flag, 15 feet down the hill for an eagle. That would get Josh Younger to -16. And just to update the leaderboard, Brett Rankin has made a bogey on the 11th, so he's back to 14 under, which is currently a share of the lead. Aaron Price with his second into 10 coming from the right-hand side. Grew up playing my junior golf with Aaron, and he was always one of the straightest hitters out there.
Where did that one go?
They come up short. Maybe.
Could be his ball there, just short left. Saw the approach of Muir on 12.
This for birdie.
How have you found putting on the greens, Michael?
Frustrating by that response.
Yeah. I'm sure they're very subtle, so
a lot of local knowledge needed then.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit a lot of putts and you think they're going to turn and they sort of stay out, and some just sort of snap really hard. It's a course, if you played here a fair few times, definitely helps.
Talk us through this putt.
Oh, this is going to turn and it's quite fast. It's TV doesn't do it justice. That green's quite slopey from back to front, and it's sort of hole sitting in a ridge there, so you've got to be careful. But
well, that birdie for Josh Younger vaults him into the lead. He's now -15. Had a couple of runner-ups, but yet to win, Josh Younger, on the ISPS Honda PGA Tour of Australasia.
I asked Ewan a question before about pulling your own buggy or carrying your own bag. You got anyone on your bag with you?
No, I had a bit of an incident last month, so if caddies, that wasn't good. The third round of the Vic Open, had a good warm-up. About 10 minutes to go, I'm on the putting green. I'm like, where's my caddy? Looked around. I'm just gave him a call because the group in front was on the tee, and it's like, oh, I'm going to be late. Can you find someone else?
Can you wait?
And I was sort of like, because caddies are compulsory, I didn't know what the ramifications were, so I was scrambling around, got someone, and that probably didn't help. So I've been flying solo.
Well, this is Damien Jordan out on the 12th, the big Queenslander.
Damian Jordan, winner of last year's Victorian PGA Championship. He had 5 top 10s on our tour last year. Won a bunch of Pro-Ams, predominantly in Queensland.
He's being stalked by the plovers there. Don't want to upset them. They'll come at you.
Good shot for a man who's served 2 tours of Iraq. Damian Jordan.
Yeah, so back to the caddying situation then, because what we were talking about, talking your way through a round. Do you an internal talk, or do you like to actually get it out and have the caddy there to be able to use?
No, I keep it all inside, bottled up inside. I don't really ask for advice or anything.
Okay.
I played a lot on, like, say, the China PGA Tour and that sort of thing, where I don't speak English, so I think it's maybe a habit I got into. I never bothered asking them for reads, or I don't know how people do that, because they'll give you a read and then you'll hit on that line and miss.
Well, then you can blame them.
Yeah, I know.
But isn't it amazing up in Asia? I played a couple of years on the Asian tour. The caddies up there, they're all girls in their early mid-20s, and they look like they wouldn't have a clue about golf, yet they can read greens better than anyone, better than me anyway.
Yeah, because all the grain, and I guess it's a local club, so they've seen the putt thousands of times, but I still just tend to try and read them myself so I don't get angry once they give me a bad read.
Yeah, it's good when you can blame yourself and not blame anyone else.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to head out to some more golf here, and there we go.
Kieran Muir, another man from Victoria. This is his 3rd shot on 12. He's at -8.
We were talking about pitching, and he's almost holed it. Wow, perfection. Your current home club is Huntingdale.
Huntingdale,
in Melbourne. And of course, you get the tight lies around there, and the difficulty in changing when you get into these situations. You like that, or you're used to it?
Well, when you're playing out on tour, you play so many different conditions, so I'm sort of used to playing on kike. Playing like in New South Wales and that sort of thing, you get a lot of kike courses, and playing Pro-Ams, the odd courses in Melbourne, so you sort of get used to it. It's probably a bit more, I find, a bit more risky. You're not as...
Yeah.
But there's a slightly different technique, but yeah, you sort of chip around when you get here in the practice rounds and that sort of thing, and you sort of adjust pretty quickly, but it is definitely different.
I mentioned to Todd how one of the difficult things around here is the sand seems to be quite firm, yet the grass is really soft and thick, so it is really 2 different techniques. One you've got to be steep on, the other one you've got to be much shallower.
Yeah, out of the bunkers, I'll just keep out of the bunkers. They're sort of quite, almost like clay.
Yeah,
you can't really get
Adelaide red dirt.
Can't get any spin out of it, so it's definitely get penalised if you're in the traps. Yeah.
You played much golf with Brett Rankin?
I think the last time I played with him was an Aussie Open about 4 years ago around Royal Sydney.
Okay, solid player. Yeah, I've played a few rounds with him. Good ball striker, and seems to be finding himself in contention on a fairly regular basis, but yet to really break through. He was runner-up in Papua New Guinea, an Australasian tour event a couple of years ago.
He got off to a flying start here in round 1, 63. Followed that up with a 67 in round 2, and already at 4 under today.
Tall man, pretty stoic on the golf course.
Yeah.
Doesn't give you much.
You're the sort of player that likes to chat as you go around. Playing partners make a difference to the way that you play.
It really depends who you're playing with, but if you're playing with someone you're quite familiar with and you've got a lot of common interests, you end up sort of chatting a lot more. If it's someone you've met for the first time, it's pretty much small chat. Where you're from, that sort of stuff. So it's
A
not
bit
really.
like here, yeah?
All right, Nathan
Not
Green
quite.
at 14.
This is for birdie.
Man who spent many years on the PGA Tour, won the Canadian Open in 2009, lost a playoff to Tiger Woods at the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines in 2006. Loves a hole-in-one, Nathan Green. Had a hole-in-one that kick-started his career at your club, actually.
Yeah, I remember that.
Michael, at
As a kid,
Huntingdale
yeah.
in 2001. And he also made a hole-in-one at Augusta in the final round on the 16th hole in 2010. What a memory that is.
That one at Huntingdale, wasn't that worth more than the actual prize?
That's right. We were
First
talking
prize?
about it before. Colin Montgomery won that tournament and won $270,000, which was basically half of what Nathan Green got, you know, his $500,000 for his hole-in-one. And Nathan Green was actually runner-up in that tournament to Montgomery, so he made plenty more than double what Monty made, minus the the alleged appearance fee.
Looks like Billy Bob Thornton.
He does with his new look, the greying beard of Michael Long.
I like that one. I'll pay that as well. Use that one from now on.
So read this putt for us, Michael.
It's uphill. I haven't putted from down that side yet. I'm going to guess it's going to move to his right.
Oh, you guessed correctly. So did Billy Bob.
Michael Long gets to 10 under par.
Is that a birdie?
He spent 3 years on the PGA Tour, Michael Long, and it's hard to believe he's less than 12 months away from Champions Tour. But perhaps if he keeps playing like this, he might stick it out with the younger fellas, the flat bellies.
He's big.
He certainly is. Michael Long actually broke his neck body surfing in Perth about 12, 15 years ago. Put him out of action for about a year. He's lucky it wasn't worse. Actually didn't even know he'd broken his neck for a day or two. All right, now, Andrew Evans, who just recently obtained a Japanese Tour card, which is a big step forward in the career of the young man from Bexley in Sydney. Very solid player. He was runner-up at your club again in 2015 at the Australian Masters, playing with Shea Wolves-Cobb there, a superstar amateur from the Sunshine Coast.
Started the day at 7 under, Andrew Evans.
One of few professionals to have playing out here who have actually completed a traineeship.
Oh, did Evo do a traineeship?
He did, yeah.
Ah.
So the 15th hole, par 3. See the wind starting to get up just a little now.
This hole was playing really tough. The wind was straight back into right to left. A lot of guys will come up short left here.
Beautiful smooth swing. It hasn't changed much over the years. Did one of the most commendable things I've seen in golf in my lifetime, Michael Long. In 1997, the Johnny Walker Classic, which was a European Tour event, was being played at Hope Island. He was leading by 2 shots with 5 to play. It was over a putt, backed away, said the ball moved, had to incur a penalty, and ended up losing by 1 stroke. Nobody else saw it. So it goes to show what a fantastic and classy move that was. It's a real game of integrity. He certainly could have changed his career at the time.
So Nathan Green now, this par 3 playing 139 metres. Dead into the wind.
On the dance floor and a long way from the band. Nathan Green. And a long way from the PGA Tour, where he spent many years, but currently teaching at the Toronto Country Club up in Lake Macquarie near Newcastle.
I tell you what, if I was a young player, you know, coming along, I'd be heading to Toronto every now and then to get some lessons and experience, because that's invaluable to have somebody like that so close at hand to be able to teach you and help you the game.
Actually, his brother's the head professional there and the head instructor, Darren. So you got a couple of greens there, which is only appropriate if you're a golfer, I guess, to have a couple of greens. 2 men at Toowoomba who spent a combined total of about a decade on the PGA Tour.
So Steve Jeffris.
Got the misses on the bag.
He is currently tied 6, 11 under. Playing the 14th.
Yeah, he won the Fiji International back in 2014 and also played the British Open Championship at Muirfield back in 2013. And Todd, we were chatting to Steve this morning over breakfast and a coffee, and he was telling us a good story how he got to play Augusta National a couple of times a month before the Masters a few years ago on his way down to Doral to play in the WGC Championship. And what a thrill that must have been. Both Steve and Robin Beecher there on his bag got the opportunity of a lifetime to stay at Augusta and play there. And shot there from Jeffris. Played in Japan in recent times, but we're competing on the Asian tour this year.
Your plans for the rest of the year?
I'm thinking about when the Australian tour sort of quietens down, maybe playing a few ADT events, just to play in something.
That's the Asian development tour.
Yeah,
right?
so ADT events, there's a fair few there during our winter, so I might go away, and it's not ideal, but somewhere to play 4-round events and try and keep the game sharp. Coming into summer, and
that's the hardest thing about being an Australian, I think, is finding somewhere steady to play. You know, if you're in Europe or if you're in the US, you've got a plethora of tours to play, but it's not that easy to come by as we look at the very unique swing and technique of Matthew Miller, but one that's provided many good results over the past few years.
And another good birdie opportunity for Matt Miller.
That's
got it surrounded. Okay.
Now that was Nick Folk from New Zealand, that approach that we just saw there. Now back to Darren Beck approaching the 12th green. We saw Darren make an eagle at 10. He's also birdied the 11th. Good start to his back nine, and that one right over it, but a little long.
Currently 3 under for his round today.
Knows how to win, Darren Beck. Won this championship 10 years ago. Also won the Brunei Open on the Asian Tour in 2009. Residing in Miranda these days, where I spent my first 22 years.
I used to shop there, as you well know.
Westfield, Miranda. That's changed. I was there about 3 weeks ago. Hardly recognisable.
As we head back down the fairway, we'll get back to that shot. This is Nathan Green's putt for birdie on the par 3 15th.
Now, talking about Nathan Green and his illustrious career, really, he's represented Australia at the World Cup of Golf as well, and won the New Zealand Open, which was a European Tour event back in 2006. But even just by competing here, and he played the Q School just to regain some status here in Australia, it just goes to show how much these guys still love the game. Very easy to get down in the dumps and lose passion for it when the results aren't what you are hoping for, but it's good to see Nathan Green still competing out here as we look at Steve Jeffris and his birdie putt at 14.
Beautifully read. If you'd have made that one on 10, the ifs, buts and maybes of the world of sport, but that one longer than the one he missed on 10.
This looks like a tricky one, Michael.
Yes, it's a double breaker, this one.
It looks like it could be slow.
It sort of comes off the ridge there, so it's not too bad, but
good for weight.
Yeah, he's good lag from there. I think he expected it to move a little bit more to the right early on, but I think he probably hit it with just a little too much pace for it to really take that break early on.
What about tomorrow? Expectations tomorrow. Do you think about it? You're the sort of player that likes to look ahead. Will you sleep well? All those types of things.
Yeah,
I'm going to throw you in there.
I don't normally have problems sleeping. It's just more so I'll in the past try and get really pumped up, and it never really works out. So I'm just going to go out there and sort of be patient and sort of make up a game plan and sort of just try not to go all out and attack every single hole, because it hasn't worked for me in the past. So like today, just sort of get it in play, hit to the right spots, and hopefully I can roll a few putts in.
If you can shoot 7 under each round, you're going to do well at most tournaments. It's going to catapult you no matter what.
I'd love to shoot another 7 under tomorrow. That hopefully put me in the mix. But
what about when you get away from us two pests here, and you go and do? Will you go and do a little practice? Is there anything from today that
after the round I was did a lot of practice, sort of long sloping putts. I just sort of couldn't trust it, so a lot of right to left putts and left to righters, and I feel it's more a trust thing in my head. I've just got to I have a tendency to try and pull it back towards a hole or push it towards a hole, and because you can get quite a lot of breaking putts here. So I did a bit of work there, and I'll probably take it easy, just go and do a bit of shopping. I need to buy some chinos and then
Do you wear those tomorrow?
Have an early night. Pardon?
Not going to wear those tomorrow, the chinos?
No, no, definitely not. It's too hot and humid for that.
Yeah, yesterday morning when we arrived, geez, just before lunchtime, it was brutal.
It was like a sauna.
Darren Beck, this 30 feet up the hill on 12. This to be 4 under after 3 holes on the back 9. Eagle at 10, birdie at 11. This is tracking.
A little bit of snappage at the end as it lost speed.
Used to cycle 80 kilometres every day, Darren Beck.
No way.
Used to cycle from Castle Hill, where he lived, to Manly.
And was there a reason for that, though?
He loved fitness. And he loved cycling.
Just a little tap in to finish off here for Nathan Green. Nathan Green stays at 10 under par, currently tied at 11th.
The beauty of golf in that group, you've got Nathan Green at 41 years old, Michael Long at 49, Blake Proverbs at 21. Jake Mcleod. Jake's played some good golf over the past 12 months. He was contending at the Australian PGA Championship a couple of months ago. He was runner-up at the Victorian Open a year ago. So many of these guys, with you included, Michael, so much talent. It's just all about taking that opportunity and running with it. Can you take that next step and hoist the trophy and perhaps progress to play your way onto a tour and gain exemptions into more tournaments? Obviously, financially, winning tournaments is a huge bonus, but you know, for someone like James Niddies, for example, last week, runner-up, played great, fantastic week, $145,000 US, I believe he made. That's excellent, but wasn't quite enough to earn him an exemption into any more tournaments. So the money helps, but it's all about giving yourself more opportunities to play, more opportunities to progress in your career, give yourself some sort of job security, isn't it?
Yeah, like with the extra cash now, he's got the freedom of going to Q schools and sort of playing where he wants to play, and not having to worry about, he's got his card and everything wrapped up here, so it's nice freedom to have and play well early.
Another birdie opportunity for Matt Miller. That one slips by. And a good opportunity missed. Taps that one in. Well, Michael, you didn't miss too many opportunities today. Congratulations on a fantastic round of golf. And thank you very much for coming in and joining us here today. We wish you all the best for tomorrow, and may you shoot another 7 under and we get to chat to you.
Thanks, Todd.
That would be great. But
thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ewan.
Cheers.
We're going to take a quick look at the leaderboard, and then we're going to head to a break. Josh Younger still with a 1-shot lead, currently 3 under through his round today. Brett Rankin, Aaron Price tied at 2nd. And there he sits. You're currently at 8. Michael Choi, anyone finished amongst the top of the leaders. And that's how the second page looks. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more live action from the Queensland PGA here at the City Golf Club in Toowoomba. Don't go far away.
I'm Peter Leonard from Sydney, Australia, and I hope you are enjoying watching PGA TV.
G'day, I'm My Golf Ambassador Jason Day. Welcome to My Golf, the first step for kids to learn the game. You'll have an awesome time picking up the basics with your mates. Golf is fun, easy to learn, and a great way to meet new friends. Have a great time, and I'll see you out on the golf course.
The City Golf Club proudly presents Daily Dinner Specials. Enjoy a different special every evening of the week, like chicken parmies on Tuesdays from $15.90. So make your daily dinner special with the City Golf Club. Yummo!
On Overboost, the Amarok V6 delivers 33 kilowatts more power than all those other utes. And now, with 3.5 ton towing and starting at $54,990 drive away, there's never been a better time to own one.
City style meets country hospitality at the beautiful 2013 TripAdvisor winner of excellence, City Golf Club Motel. 45 rooms created for your comfort, all with stunning designer effects and decor. Relax with a dip in the pool, a round of golf, or simply just unwind. Great dining, entertainment and function options are available at the nearby City Golf Club. Plus, our courtesy transport is on hand for your convenience. City Golf Club Motel, corporate, social and golf packages available.
The 15th hole, called Parker's Rest. It's a lovely story named after a guy called Bill Parker who had 2 holes in one on this hole. Hopefully we see a little bit more of that action this week. 140 metres to the pin, and as you can see the green is set up from the front right to the back left, so really does favour a nice little butter draw in on that right hand breeze. There's a few things to watch out for once you get up to the 15th green. Now there's the bunkers on the front right and the front left. But I tell you what, this hill over on the left-hand side is massive. I'm exhausted just walking up that thing. It's like 3 metres deep. Stay away from the left-hand side. But once you get on the green, it's relatively straightforward. It does run from that front right section down into this back left. So on a normal day, you would get release. However, the greens at the moment are wet. So this ball isn't going anywhere once it hits this surface. So take dead aim at the pin and hope for the best.
Thank you, Ali Whittaker, giving us a tour of this 15th hole. This is a birdie putt for Nick Vogt.
Oh, another one that was tracking. Only been a professional for a couple of months. And this, his third start on the PGA Tour of Australasia, was top 10 in his debut as a professional at the Rebel Sport New Zealand Masters. Won the first stage of the Web.com Q School last year, but unfortunately didn't quite make it to finals, but loads of talent and plenty of time on the young man's side.
This is Matt Van Cliff for his birdie. It's been a rough day for him. Flat stick not working.
Yeah, we've seen him miss a couple of opportunities. Maverick Ancliffe had to play the first stage of our Q School at Noosa Springs a couple of months ago and shot 15 under par for 3 rounds around Noosa Springs, which is
tight.
Yeah, I've played there a few times and it's kind of hard to believe. That's an amazing score. So another player with an abundance of skill and talent. Speaking of skill and talent, this man, the epitome of both, Stephen Jeffris. Played with Stephen at the Queensland Open 3 months ago, and I've got nothing but praise for Steve. Solid ball striker, not one of the longest out there, but is just nonplussed by what's going on around him. Does his thing, does it very effectively, very consistent player. This to get to 13 under.
And another good putt.
And Steve Jeffris now only 2 strokes off the lead, being held by Josh Younger.
Putting another good solid round together, 5 under for the day. This is Daniel Fox into the 12th. And he'll have a good look at a birdie. You can see there how receptive the greens are. If you can dial in on your number, you can get it close.
Yeah, for sure. Daniel Fox, a winner on our tour here in Australia, won the WA Open in 2015. Has won a couple of smaller tournaments in the US as well, as we go back to Jordan Mulaney. This at 14, his 3rd shot. Oh! No, it can't stay there. Wait, hang on. Come on.
Look at the shadow hanging over the hole.
It can't do that. Is that lucky or unlucky?
It's lucky to be unlucky. Because it wasn't.
I wouldn't know whether to slam my club or fist pump there. I mean, it's a great break, isn't it? And he's going to save par, but it can't do that. It can't stay there. Now he's got 10 seconds from the time he arrives, but I don't think it's going to drop.
And that is the shortest tap-ins that we will ever see.
Going along nicely, Jordan Mulaney. Mentioned before his brother played for the Parramatta Eels in the NRL. Jake. Sporting family. One of a couple of prodigious sporting families out here. Aaron Wilkin from Queensland. His brother Brad plays for the New South Wales Waratahs. So, very skillful families.
This is Aaron Price out of the bunkers, 3rd at the 12th.
Beautiful shot. Great short game. Aaron Price. Always been a player who's the most out of his game. Very solid. Doesn't waste too many shots out on the course. Won on the web.com tour in 2008 in California.
Hello, Aaron, on Twitter. Quite an interesting character to follow in social media circles.
Certainly is. Always up for a debate. And spent 3 years on the PGA Tour, Aaron Price. Had 4 top 10s, won over a couple of million in prize money. So he's had a very solid career. From my club, the Cronulla Golf Club in Sydney. Both grew up playing together. Went to the AIS in Melbourne. Then went to Georgia Southern and graduated from there after 4 years, and actually won his very first tournament as a professional in Florida. Now the leader, Josh Younger, chipping.
And I'm pointing at the ball that hasn't been marked. There's lots of discussion about that. That ball certainly has to be close to being on his line if he was going to hole it. Aaron Price now marking it.
Yeah, saw Phil Mickelson do that this morning, actually. Hit a chip shot on the 4th hole and it just missed his playing partner's ball. It's certainly, it's one that's caused plenty of debate in the golfing circles in recent times. Kieran Muir is not worried about that at all, Todd.
No, I'm sure Wayne Grady's watching us and he'll be commenting on his couch about that.
Just lost that on the low side, but Muir's at 12 under par. Tie for 5th. Going along nicely. Saw the approach of Daniel Fox into 12. He's at 13 under par. This to move within 1 stroke of the lead. 10 feet down the hill. Nope. Looks to the heavens.
Yeah, he knew early that he pulled it just enough.
Grows a mean mustache come November time, Daniel Fox. Raises a lot of money for charity as well. Good man. Always enjoyed his company. Very solid player.
3 under through 12 today.
starting to get a little bunched near the top of the leaderboard. Josh Younger is 1 stroke ahead, but this putt from 8 feet certainly will test him. This for a par. We've currently got 6 players within 2 strokes of the lead.
Just our cameraman clearing the line for us to be able to get a good view of this putt.
Sorry.
So important to keep your speed on this one. It'll turn just a little left if you don't.
I don't think he thought he'd made that. You could see his upper body just move a little bit towards the hole when he putted, and he sort of looked at it in dismay, but he'll take it. It's a par. His caddy will take all the credit for that one.
Elf smiles, the caddy.
Absolutely. If he missed it, it wasn't his fault.
It was him. It wasn't us. This is Aaron Price to clean up for his par. Nicely done.
Couple of good up and downs from Aaron on this back nine.
I mentioned a little earlier the 10th playing here of the Coca-Cola Queensland PGA Championships at the City Golf Club. Some impressive names on the honour roll.
That was Jordan Mullaney on 15, pushing it out to the right. Long birdie putt. You're right, Todd. Greg Norman won this championship in 1979, and Reginald Want won 8 of these championships.
Oh, good old Reg. I've got to admit that I'm not all that familiar with Reg, but I am familiar with the likes of Peter Senior, Lucas Parsons, Ozzie Moore, Terry Price. Those names are prodigious winners in Australian golf over a long period of time.
Absolutely, and in recent times, Stephen Bowditch, Scott Gardner, Ryan Fox, Cameron Percy, all playing with success on the international stage. So can certainly leapfrog you to bigger and better things winning this championship and hoisting the trophy.
Kieran Muir on the 15th, 4 under today. We've seen a lot of players come up short. This hole plays, as we saw from Ali Whitaker, a little downhill, but it's dead into the wind today. Picking the club becoming just a little difficult. This one on a good line. And again, comes up short.
Yeah, we've seen that quite a bit, haven't we? But when we've seen a few players out to the right, and I dare say that's because of where we saw Ali Whitaker standing before down the hill on the left of the green.
So this is Brett Rankin. Off piste at the moment, coming out of the rough.
Got to keep it low under the trees there. I tell you what, getting it to check nicely from the rough. It's aggressive off the tee there, took the driver on the 346 metre par 4. Left himself 25 feet for a birdie. Currently 1 stroke behind Josh Younger.
Well, we're in Toowoomba, and what a beautiful region of Australia this is. Perfect place to get away, relax, enjoy a bit of the fresh air and savour some of the history of this region. Beautiful gardens surrounding Toowoomba, the famed Japanese garden. Of course, it sits on the edge of the Great Dividing Range. And a beautiful climate. Not the same climate, although only 90 minutes away from Brisbane. Gets quite cold here in the winter. A lovely autumn. Lots of natural changing leaf colours with all the beautiful areas here. The Picnic Point lookout that overlooks the Lockyer Valley.
We are 691 metres above sea level here as well. Hence the climate change. A little cooler in the summer and a little cooler in the winter, but a lot more pleasant at some of the humid areas on the Sunshine Coast. So we look at Kieran Muir's long birdie putt, Todd, on 15.
A little bit of work still to do there. And you look at that smile as if to say, oh, I left it short again.
30-year-old from New Zealand. Turned professional late. He was 25 when he turned professional. This is his going into his 5th year now on the ISPS Honda PGA Tour of Australasia.
So a long birdie opportunity. You'd imagine just be happy to get this one up close.
And Jordan Mullaney would have to feel somewhat at home here. He's from the Blue Mountains in Western Sydney, and climate and topography, landscape, all fairly similar to here in Toowoomba. And I'd say he's feeling pretty comfortable right now.
We just showed some of the beautiful pictures of the area around here in Toowoomba. The club here, it's an old club, originally established in 1926 at a different site to what we are now. We've been at this site since 1938. Brand new clubhouse opened here, back in 2000, expanded again in 2010, and we saw how active and vibrant this club is last night, didn't we?
Yeah, 300-seat bistro and a couple of restaurants. The place was rocking at 8:30 p.m. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Rawson, the Kiwi, par putt, 15. Needs it.
Well done. Excellent save. Good for the statistics, the up and down from bunkers. But a very strong club social aspect here. Over 60,000 social members have been here at the club. About 1,000 golfing members. And if you like the look of the course, you're more than welcome to come and play here as a guest.
Well, to give you an idea of the scope of the place too, 140 plus employees of City Golf Club. New driving range and cafe opened just a couple of years ago.
Par for Brett Rankin, stays on top of the leaderboard, tied with Josh Younger at the moment.
Kieran Muir, nice putt there on 15, minus 12. Good par for him. Jordan Mullaney, a little bit of a rush of blood with the first putt. Be very cognizant of these around here. 4 feet, will get your full attention.
And no need to commentate when you see that reaction. So one shot gone for Mullaney, back to 10 under par.
Yeah, not a good feeling walking off there with a 3 putt.
So this is Damien Jordan for birdie from just off the edge. Any difficulty in coming off the edges and putting here with the Kikuyu?
Definitely here. I mean, you've got two very distinct and varying grasses in the bent greens and the Kikuyu grass, whereas somewhere down in somewhere like Melbourne, where the grass is a lot tighter around the greens, it tends to roll at a fairly similar speed. So something very difficult to adjust to for sure. That's why you won't see too many players putting from the fringes here. You'd see most of them chip, so they don't have to worry about that.
Well, Aaron Price in a little bit of trouble here off the tee, and just stepped away to try to rehearse the backswing here. Going to have to pick the club up quickly to not hit the tree.
Yeah, and one thing to watch here is as he changes clubs, you watch him go a long way down the grip, probably near the steel on this, so he can have a little bit more of a longer backswing. See the butt of the club sticking out there. The further down the shaft he goes, the more backswing he'll be able to obtain. Certainly a lot of improvisation needed here. You've got to be careful too, because if you do snap a branch, that's a penalty. So,
I mean, as an amateur player, I've always found myself in these predicaments often. But
I'm hearing you, believe me.
But one of the issues is you take your back swing and you feel the length, but then when you go to hit it, you actually naturally swing longer, and that's where the trouble comes from.
That's right. That's exactly right. No matter how many times you rehearse it.
We'll get back to Aaron Price in just a moment. Let's head over to Muir here on 13.
That was 14, I believe.
14, sorry.
Birdie gets it to 9 under par, playing there with Damian Jordan. Taps in for a par. Big man from the Gold Coast.
Christopher Muir not making a charge as he would have liked today after 2 very good rounds of 63 to open and then a 69, still only 1 under par through today's round.
And there's Aaron Price. Didn't seem to have any problems with the tree. Oh, what a good looking shot that is. Sit down.
It's going to hang on. So excellent recovery.
Yeah, I'll be very pleased with that one.
Back to the 15th. And Damian Jordan.
The unique swing. Watch him a little short and outside and then loop it on the inside coming down.
Set up for him, isn't it? For the draw, as we saw Ali Whitaker say, just slide this one in from right to left.
Good shot. Good shot. 20 feet there. A good one from Chris Muick in there as well to about 5 or 6 feet, and a chance for back-to-back birdies for Muick. Third member of this group. Man who's currently 1 stroke off the pace, Brett Rankin. Excuse me, he's tied for the lead. He's 15 under par, 5 under today. Geez, you've got Brett Rankin and Damian Jordan, who are both 6'4", 6'5", and Chris Muick, who's about 5'8" in this group. So, got all ranges of physiques and heights covered.
This one looking good, turning in. Oh, short again, and well short.
Ballooned it up in the breeze a little bit.
This is one of the highest points of the golf course too. So this is Josh Younger on the 13th, second shot. Great position off the tee. And it would look good to him in the air.
Certainly would have. Somewhere between him and Price's ball, it would be ideal. But a good chance for a birdie from Younger, and Daniel Fox out to play his approach.
Just nothing but a flip wedge in here for Daniel Fox. Very lofted club in hand.
Well, I think we've seen from this coverage already, Todd, what we were talking about at the beginning. Get the ball in play here. Lots of birdie opportunities. It's not that long at all, but a lot of tree trouble lurks. And the players have a lot of options. They can take the long irons and 3-wood off the tee, but if they want to be more aggressive and get it up near the greens, they certainly can, but you'll pay the price if you're not in play.
So we saw Brett Rankin come up well short. Here's his second, a chip. This one will come just a little from his right to left. All about judging how far it'll run out.
Hit it, hit it. See, he used a wedge or a 9-iron there, and that's a shot that the professionals don't practice much at all. You watch most professionals practice their short games, sand wedge and lob wedge, all the time. And it's funny that quite often on the golf course, they're the shots that you will get, those straightforward ones. So, you know, I think players like to challenge themselves when they're practicing, but when you get a straightforward shot like that, and you haven't really worked too hard on it, it's difficult to get the pace right. Jordan now is for a birdie. Needs to make a few coming in if he's to put himself in some sort of contention coming in tomorrow. Currently 7 strokes off the lead.
Yeah, just even par for his round today. After consecutive rounds of 4 under par. 66 on opening day, followed by a 66 in round 2.
Big 2017, as I mentioned before, Damian Jordan, winner of the Victorian PGA, which was his first win on the ISPS Honda PGA Tour of Australasia. Coming at Huntingdale Golf Club, where Aaron Price finished second. Also had 5 top 10s, won a bunch of Pro-Ams. Now Brett Rankin Wants to remain in a share of the lead with Josh Younger at -15. Want to be dropping a stroke on a short par 3.
And didn't break.
139-metre hole, and back-to-back groups we've seen bogeys from Mullaney and Rankin. Oh, as Michael Choi said, Brett Rankin doesn't give you much. That can be a good way to be as a golfer, as opposed to riding the emotional roller coaster I was very familiar with.
There's still a good chance to pick up at least another birdie on the way in 17th hole here at par 5. If you get a good drive away.
Newick, birdie at 14, this for birdie at 15.
And a confident strike on the putt.
10 under. 5 off the lead.
Let's go back to the 14th. This is Matt Miller from the right side. Just in the rough, coming in for his second shot. 14th place, 346 metres. And from that angle, harder to get it, much closer than that.
Yeah, it looked like he was coming just out of the rough there as well, so not able to get as much control of the ball as he would have liked, as opposed to where Jake Macleod is on the left side of the fairway here, Todd.
Now, last night we went out and had a look at this pin placement. You thought we might see a couple of hole outs here. Yet to have happened. Here's a big call for Jake Mcleod as we watch live, by the way.
Maybe I was being a little over-ambitious, but I did think that. I thought the players coming in here with sand wedges and lob wedges, and there's a slope left of the hole. There's a slope just behind the hole. Not a severe slope, but enough that I thought it could be an opportunity for the ball to funnel down there into the hole. These guys are very, very good with their wedges. Come on, Jake, make me look good. Spin back.
Just not able to get enough spin to pull that one back.
Now this looks like Darren Beck in the trees at 14. He's 4 under through 4 holes on the back 9. Where's this one gone?
Well, that's a good save. It sounded like it clipped the trees, and he's given himself,
Darren Beck,
the perfect birdie putt.
Eagle at 10, birdie at 11, birdie at 13. This now for a birdie at 14. That would get him to 15 under and tie the lead.
Well, he doesn't mind going low. Opening round 61 tied the course record on day 1 of this year's Coca-Cola Queensland PGA Championships. So this is Nathan Green. So we talked about the difficulty in putting off the edges here at the City Golf Club. It's for a birdie, taking the pin out, nobody tending it. Doesn't have anybody to tend it.
Oh, that was tracking. That was looking good. Just a little shy. 17, steeply inclined par 5. The second shot playing straight uphill, but still at only 480 metres. One that the players will be looking to gain a stroke.
And a back right pin today, and you can see it's well protected by the bunkering.
Blake Proverbs from the Pacific Golf Club. This for a birdie on 17. This to move into the top 10 at 11 under par. Yeah, nicely done. Crowd like that one behind 17.
Jake Mcleod.
Seeing a lot more players use that claw grip these days.
Isn't it interesting when many years ago anybody that changed grip in their putting would consider to be psychologically already gone in their game, but now it seems that in golf it's okay to take any grip you like if you can get it into the hole.
Chris DeMarco and Mark Calcavecchia were the first 2 players to adopt the claw grip, albeit slightly different variations of that. But once other players saw the results they were getting from it and learnt a little bit about why they adopted that grip, I think a lot of other players started adopting it themselves.
And what about when we talk about grip of your hands, but what about the size of grips as well? Because KJ Choi came out with that big jumbo fat grip, and everyone, oh, what's wrong with that? Then now so many people have variations of grip size that best suits their hands. It makes sense, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and the biggest thing with with players, well, I was going to say the better players, but it really is just golfers in general. The biggest thing with putting is to try and take your hands out of it as much as possible, because that's where, you know, you can become a little bit yippy, so to speak. You really just want to rock the shoulders, so to speak, and that's why you see players using these big fat grips and using a claw grip and going cross-handed and what have you. It's all in an effort to try and take the hands out of it. You really just want to keep the body as still as possible and not use the hands too much. It's a different stroke to what we saw back in the day. I remember in 2010, I was lucky enough to play the British Open Championship at St Andrews, and walked onto the first tee in the putting green there next to the first tee. KJ Choi was putting there, and he was putting side saddle like Sam Snead did back in the 40s and 50s. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing, but he knew what he was doing. So when I saw that, it was proof that players will do whatever they can to, you know, whatever will work, really. I mean, there's no right or wrong. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. I think quite often, especially in the amateur game, you see what we'd call band-aid fixes. You see players trying to adopt something one day, go with something else another, but if you're looking for long-term benefit, whatever takes the hands out of it will generally be most efficient.
So Matt Miller holes out. And he stays at 11 under par currently in 9th position. Let's take a look at the leaderboard. Josh Younger still at the top with the one-shot lead. Brent Rankin back to 14 under. Darren Beck also at 14. And it looks as though Michael Choi, who was in here visiting us just a little while ago, probably going to sit just inside that top 10 at the end of today's play as we head to a break. And we'll be back with more live action from the Queensland PGA Championships. We're at the City Golf Club in Toowoomba. Don't go far away.
Hi, I'm Damian Jordan from Coolangatta Tweedheads, and you're watching PGA TV.
The award-winning City Golf Club's Function Centre features fully appointed conference areas with rooms for all types of events and budgets in sumptuous catering. While you're here, relax, stay a while at the beautiful City Golf Club Boutique Motel. Why not take advantage of our bus service to the Brisbane West Wellcamp Airport? Book your next function at the award-winning City Golf Club Toowoomba.
On Overboost, the Amarok V6 delivers 33 kilowatts more power than all those other utes. And now, with 3.5-ton towing and starting at $54,990 drive away, there's never been a better time to own one.
We're in Toowoomba at the City Golf Club, but so much scenery to be seen in this part of Australia. Only 90 minutes from Brisbane. There's some magnificent historic buildings in this town that continues to grow. It's got the new airport, beautiful, very Australiana views there. Wonderful gardens if you're into that side of things. Alongside of me in commentary is Ewan Porter. And Ewan, perfect day for golf. Little breezy, but temperatures down, which has made it much easier for players out there. First couple of days, very hot out here.
Certainly was, Todd. When that storm rolled through yesterday afternoon about 3 p.m, those temperatures dropped significantly and a lot more comfortable for the players out there. In saying that, today in round 3, we did see Michael Choi shoot a 63 this morning, but some of those pin placements are a little more difficult today. They're just tucked in corners, which is making it slightly difficult for these players to get anywhere near with their approach shots. So although conditions may be a little more bearable, some of those pin positions just finding it difficult to come by.
That was Darren Beck into the 15th, the par 3. Good safe shot, keeping that left side completely out of play.
It's an interesting mentality when someone like Darren Beck, using him as an example, all these players playing really well, but Darren Beck shooting 61 the first day, not so well yesterday was 69, but your mentality at that point of the tournament is, let's just make birdies, let's make eagles. Now that you're up there, either in the lead or right near it, do you then just sort of protect your score? Do you just, I mean, it's easier said than done. One would think that you just have that birdie mindset and try and get well ahead, but sometimes it's easy to think, well, if I continue to be attacking and aggressive, it'll catch up with me and I might drop some strokes. So it can just be, it can sometimes just play on your mind mentally, and especially when the conditions change as well. You've got to be wary of what's going on around you, what the other players are doing.
This is Jake Mcleod. This line perhaps a little left, but he'll have an uphill putt.
Jake Mcleod was threatening to win the 2016 Australian Open title at Royal Sydney. He was in the top 5 with about half a dozen holes to play. Still only 23 years of age, so
wouldn't it be good if you could honestly get a player like a Jake Mcleod to put down in their own words what happens in their thoughts at that moment, because that's a big occasion, top 5 Australian Open, big field, Jordan Spieth and the like around you. What they actually are thinking, whether they're in that zone or whether they're actually thinking peripherally about what opportunity can arise if they can finish this off.
Another one short there with Matt Miller on 15. It's a great point, Todd, because I think a lot of players don't like to admit their failings.
Of course not.
But I actually think it's beneficial to admit where you go wrong, get it out there in the open and understand it, grasp it, and then make the change. Josh Younger at 14.
It's his second shot. I think about Cam Davis winning the Australian Open at the end of last year. He won it in a way that was probably easier. And I mean, it was not easy to win, but the way he came through, there wasn't as much traffic going around him. He got in, got his score in, and then he was able to watch those last few groups. They had to do something to catch him. It was almost as at that time he knew where he was, but it wasn't as focused on him. There was still a lot of focus around the other groups, and he snuck in front.
I played golf with Andrew Shuden, who caddied for Cameron Davis and who's actually won this championship in 2012. I played golf with Andrew about a month ago, and he's currently, great shot there, Daniel Fox. I played with him about a month ago in Noosa, and he's currently in the US caddying for Cameron, and he said it almost just came about by accident. Cameron Davis was 4 strokes behind with 7 holes to play in that Australian Open, and holed his approach shot. You may remember he spun the ball into the hole on 12, and it was only then did he realise that he was really in contention. Got him to within a couple of strokes of the lead, and there's 3 really good birdie opportunities in those last 6 holes, and Cameron didn't feel like there was too much opportunity for things to go wrong in those last 6 holes, where if that happened early in the round, you're right, perhaps there was an extra hour or two to think about the situation. Aaron Price a little long with his second there on 14. So basically everything we're discussing, it does go to show just how mental the game is. If you can somehow stay out of your own way, you'll do well.
Well, Matt Miller coming up well short with his tee shot on the 15th. He's test his short game. We've seen that one run out a couple of times now. And again, when we had Michael Chaw in here, we talk about that little bit of local knowledge or the experience of playing out here. Matt Miller, of course, he's had some good experiences here. Finished second here last year, lost in a playoff.
That was an interesting one. He was started the day 8 behind and was still 7 behind with 9 to play, Matt Miller, and found himself in a playoff courtesy of some, some poor play from Daniel Pearce coming down the stretch and his own good play. Pearce played the playoff beautifully, made a couple of birdies to win the championship, but Matt Miller very familiar with this City Golf Club layout. And the players, Todd, have been waxing lyrical about the quality of this course. They absolutely love coming here.
Well, there's a lovely vibe here at this golf club from all of the members, lots of volunteers out there marshalling and helping the course.
Well, it's a great opportunity for a country area like a Toowoomba, which, by the way, still has a population of 165,000 people. But they get a tournament like this with perhaps the next superstar or someone like a Nathan Green who has won on the PGA Tour. They get to see them up close, and you really can get up close. You can walk alongside them on the fairway. Aaron Price for birdie at 14, just left that on the low side.
We're talking about well-known names. I mean, there are some well-known names that missed the cut here this week, and in particular, you won't like me bringing up his name because he would have liked to pin it, but James Nitty's coming off a runner-up performance at the Super Sixes in Perth and then misses the cut here. Shows you how tough a sporting life can be.
It certainly does. I always found it extremely difficult backing up a win or a really good week. It just takes so much out of you physically and mentally that those players that do well week after week, I've got nothing but respect and praise for them.
Josh Younger with a birdie opportunity, got to keep the pace up, and he does.
That was another one. We saw him on the 12th hole hit a putt, and it looked like he wasn't happy with it. And that one, then it looked like he sort of came out of it a little bit, but he's happy.
I think he pushed it onto the right line. Would that be fair?
He did, and a little knuckles there to his caddy. His caddy claiming that one again. Josh Younger, 16 under par. He's actually a couple ahead of Brett Rankin. Brett Rankin bogeyed 15 to drop back to 14 under. Jake Mcleod just missing birdie there on 15. Hasn't quite happened today for Jake.
We're talking about putting and putting strokes, which just reminded me again with this Gone to the Claw. One of the greatest putters that I ever had the privilege of playing a lot with and watching was Mark O'Meara. And he had the classic standard putting stroke and then eventually went to the claw as well.
I think he called his one a saw grip.
Saw.
Yeah, there was the claw and the saw. And he's had a lot of success too with the saw grip. But you're right. I mean, he won 5 Pebble Beach titles alone back in the day. Won a couple of majors using a standard grip. So sometimes you wonder what gets into these players.
Let me ask you this question as we watched Matt Miller try to save his par. In terms of putting, how much of the greens changing in terms of quality and speed over many years has that changed putting? Because I also had the privilege on only one occasion, but to have a round of golf with Arnold Palmer, who had a putting stroke that no one uses anymore.
Very, very good point. If you watch players from the 50s, 60s, 70s putt, talking of unique putting strokes, but one that works.
Dead centre.
Matt Miller. You watch Gary Player, Arnold Palmer, Bobby Locke. You watch those guys putt from back in the day. Even Jack Nicklaus to an extent. Very wristy, very poppy, very stabby. The only one that I can think of who has that type of stroke from the modern game is Brandt Snedeker. And back in the day, 30, 40, 50 years ago, green speeds typically were around 7, maybe 8 on the stimp meter, and were a lot more bumpy. Today they roll around 11, 12 and are a lot smoother. So that particular putting stroke wouldn't have as great an effect on these style of greens. Perhaps on a slow, bumpy public golf course in the country somewhere.
A Poa
Yeah, well,
green.
even Pebble Beach even. A lot of guys typically. You saw Rory McIlroy struggle badly last week with his putting there, and you're right. I think the way the green surfaces are and the green speeds are, it can dictate how your putting stroke is.
So you saw that tap in from Daniel Fox.
This is Campbell Rawson on 17, par 5.
Our first look, big elevation change from the tee box down low, coming up to the green, 525 metres, this par 5.
Campbell's gone bush there, which you don't want to do.
That green there is a pitching practice area. Let's take a look at the 17th hole.
480-metre par 5. Just a slight elevation change off the tee. It's a fairly flat tee shot. Most of the players hitting their tee shots, they've got to be wary of the bunkers on the left. Hitting their tee shot somewhere around this area, 260 metres, leave themselves 200 to 220 metres to the green. And Todd, when we were out there yesterday, it's a significant elevation change to the green. Big uphill second shot, so I'm playing at least a club longer, and weird angle the green is. It's sort of angled from front right to back left, and a big slope off on the left there, so not an easy one to come in with a long iron or a fairway wood, which most of these players will be.
And the pin today quite close to where you saw it in that camera shot just then, 27 metres on.
Jordan Mullaney with his tee shot, and this one looks nice. Little high fade. Expect this one to be in the fairway somewhere. Yes, right side. Beautiful tee shot from Jordan Mullaney. And that was the exact shape you want off this tee. You can see it sort of canvases from right to left a little bit there. So anything with a draw has a chance of feeding left into those fairway bunkers or the trees. Kieran Muir now, -12. That looks like a beautiful tee shot. Slight fade, little flatter ball flight than Mullaney's. And A1 position. Going to be an interesting second shot off that slope though. Uphill lie, maybe even a little above his feet.
So tough to get to that back pin, as I mentioned, 27 on the green, 35 metres in length. So we're live back out to the 15th. Now we've seen this putt quite a few times. You sort of throw it out there a little to the right, let it feed to the hole.
It's obviously one that's very difficult to judge the speed. We've seen a couple come up well short, and then we saw Jordan Mullaney 3-putt when he had that rush of blood. Daniel Fox, a very good putter. And it's another one of those instances for these players that have played the past 3 weeks on 3 very different putting surfaces and different speeds. It's very difficult to be consistent when that occurs.
It's a good putt though. An easy tap in for his par.
-14, Daniel Fox, running along very nicely. What these players would give for a Tim Hart style round from 2016 tomorrow. 12 under par he was after 17 holes. So it can be done. I've seen 61s from Hart and Beck, 62 from Taylor McDonald here years ago. Brett Rankin a 63 here, day 1. Michael Choi today a 63. So there's definitely an opportunity for someone within 5-6 shots of the lead to post a number tomorrow. All right, now Aaron Price should break slightly to his left, slightly uphill. This to get within 1 of Younger's lead.
Oh, it was interesting. He left that marker there, and you would have thought that he was trying to keep it just on the inside, and he's pushed it outside of it.
He probably had that as his reference point, I would think. Maybe his starting point. He's pushed it slightly, but nothing wrong with the 3 on 15.
If you're just joining us in our coverage here, you've heard Ewan Porter talk about the scores that have been posted so far this week. A reminder, it's a par 70 here at the City Golf Club.
Great tee shot from our leader, Josh Younger. He's at -16. Now, pause this one in, excuse me. He starts to put a little bit of breathing space between him and the field. This gets him to -17. Give him a 3-shot lead. Brett Rankin, 14 under. Darren Peck, Daniel Fox, Aaron Price, all at that same score. Breaking ever so slightly to his right. Just pushed it out there. Now his caddies claim the credit for making the last couple of good putts. Where is he here? His caddy looks at Josh and says, Josh, your fault, my friend. But he's still got that 2-shot lead. Daniel Fox tapping in. Remain in a tie for second. Stephen Jeffris.
Well, you've mentioned a couple of times we had a coffee with him before he went out this morning. Oh, just not enough pace on that. And he was talking about potential winning scores as we look ahead to tomorrow. 20 under, as he thought anyone that gets to 20 has a pretty good chance of taking it out.
Definitely take that right now. 19 was the winning score last year. I think 20 under is a good number. I mean, geez, if someone like a Josh Younger goes out tomorrow and shoots 62 or 3, well, he's going to run away with the title, you would think. But I like the idea of getting to 20 under par. Some players like to have a number in their head. Others like to just go with the flow. Maverick Ancliffe tapping in there.
So back down to the tee box on 17. This is Brett Rankin.
The ideal shot, that little fade, which is what Brett Rankin has done. Has he overdone it a little bit? Yes, he has. Oh, he's going to be blocked out there. Well, we did a flyover of this hole before, but Ali Whitaker was out there.
If ever there was a need
this week
for an action title name of a golf hole, it would be here on 17 in Toowoomba. Meet the Summit. As devastating as it sounds, it is actually pretty steep. This is the Everest of Queensland we're talking about right here. 480 metres straight back up the hill. Fairway bunkers on the left, they're around 240 to carry, so important to take that into account. But aside from that, left part of the fairway and then just take on that massive hill. Well, I hope by this point in time, once you've walked up from the tee to the approach area, that you've had a couple of snacks, maybe rehydrated, because you're gonna need it. We're halfway on this 480 metre par 5, and look what's left. Holy mackerel, that is so far uphill. If you don't hear from me in about 15 minutes, you know what's happened, but all right, I'm gonna go give it a bell. Mentally prepare. I think I can. I'm not sure I can. We've finally finished our journey up from base camp, back down on the tee on 17. We're walking up, and just when you thought they might take it easy on you, you know, you've had a tough trot all the way back up the hill. No, we're not going to stop here. We're going to have bunkers right, bunkers left, bunkers back right, just to make things interesting. And then this green, not too many tees on it, surprisingly enough. Pretty straightforward, runs from the front right to the back edge, and so there will be many birdie chances here. You can hit the green in 2, maybe a cheeky eagle or 2 as well.
Good work from Ali Whitaker. She reminded me that I've been saying 525 metres, 525 yards is on the card. Oh, that one well right too.
Yeah, following Rankin's lead, unfortunately. I have a feeling Ali was exaggerating a little bit. She's pretty fit, Ali.
She is indeed.
But it is a very steep incline. Campbell Rawson up ahead.
These are the sorts of areas of the course where you've got to get a little lucky with what type of lie you get. He's nipped that nicely.
You're right, Todd. The course is in, that's a great shot. The course is in fantastic shape, but venture into the rough and it can be a little trodden down, a little worn in some patches.
Well, and if you've hit it there, then you deserve to potentially not get a perfect lie and a perfect opportunity to recover.
Exactly. And 30, 40 years ago, where Jordan Mullaney is here in the bunker, they didn't even have rakes in the bunkers. It was thought of as a hazard. You're in a hazard, you should be penalised. But most bunkers these days perfectly manicured, and Jordan Mullaney taking advantage of that. Beautiful bunker shot. Interesting that Michael Choi was pointing out earlier that not getting too much spin out of these bunkers, so that's something that earlier in the week the players would have had to really factor into their practice and into their preparations. And Kieran Muir here, only about 5-6 feet off the green. You mentioned before, Todd, when we saw Damian Jordan putt from just off the fringe. Very, very different coming from the Kikuyu grass onto the bent green. So Kieran Muir, if he was somewhere else in the world, maybe playing links golf or down in Victoria on the sandbelt, perhaps he would putt this. Not too much can go wrong. But here with the Kikuyu grass on the fringe, a little spongier, so much more difficult to judge the pace. So by chipping this, he's taking all of that out of consideration. We're looking to fly this halfway and then roll it up there like a putt from there. Always good to have different options, I believe. Over in the US, quite often it's thick rough just off the edge of the green and it becomes a little one-dimensional.
So he plays that one low, gets it to run out as you predicted. Out of 10?
7.
Okay.
He should roll that in. That was his third shot, so that will be for a birdie to get to 13 under par, which at the moment put him in a tie for 6th with Stephen Jeffris. See the beautiful views from the summit there, down over the 18th and the city itself of Toowoomba.
Lots of local support here. In terms of sponsors, we're going to head to a break. We want you to be back on the other side of that break to the Coca-Cola Queensland PGA Championships, presented by Whipple's Volkswagen.
Hi, I'm Matt Griffin from Victoria Golf Club, and I hope you're enjoying PGA TV.
G'day, I'm My Golf Ambassador Jason Day. Welcome to My Golf, the first step for kids to learn the game. You'll have an awesome time picking up the basics with your mates. Golf is fun, easy to learn, and a great way to meet new friends. Have a great time, and I'll see you out in the golf course.
City style meets country hospitality at the beautiful 2013 TripAdvisor winner of excellence, City Golf Club Motel. 45 rooms created for your comfort, all with stunning designer effects and decor. Relax with a dip in the pool, a round of golf, or simply just unwind. Great dining, entertainment and function options are available at the nearby City Golf Club. Plus, our courtesy transport is on hand for your convenience. City Golf Club Motel, corporate, social and golf packages available.
So back out to 17, Campbell Rawson of New Zealand with a birdie opportunity. Not the day he was hoping for. This will make it feel a little sweeter. And rolls it in. So takes him to 8 under. 8 under at the moment, tied for 22nd.
Jordan Mullaney, beautiful bunker shot. This for a birdie. This to get to -11. Good putt. He missed a short one on 15, Mullaney, so good for his confidence to get that one in. -12, excuse me.
Talking about Campbell Rawson, just 1 under for the day. Coming into day 3, moving day, hasn't moved enough.
Yeah, you don't shoot 2, 3, 4 under par on Saturday here, you'll be left behind. Now Muir. Saw him chip from the fringe. Oh no. You could see he had a little body movement there, a little lift of the head, a little anxious. Disappointing.
They'll head to the 18th tee, which has a... As we head to the 17th tee, but the 18th tee, different style of tee shot altogether. Downhill, got to get that ball into play. Trouble left and right there.
Now Darren Beck likes to hit a little draw off the tee. This looks like a good tee shot. The fairway slopes right to left. I was going to say, will it stay in the fairway? But no problems at all. That's A1 position for Beck at 15 under and 1 behind Josh Younger. Good opportunity for Beck to catch him here. It's been a great back 9 from Darren Beck. He's already 5 under par this 9. Another very tall man, Brett Rankin.
This is his 3rd into 17. Remember, he was right off the tee. And that one come up well short.
Yeah, that checked up pretty quickly, that one. You can watch, good opportunity here to watch Matt Miller's unique, distinctive action. You'll see him take the club outside, lay it off.
I recognise that swing.
You think, what's going on? Generally, that doesn't go on. Generally, it's up the middle.
I recognise that result as well. So a 3rd here also.
That was Chris Muir there, Todd.
Coming up just a tad. It's been interesting watching today because this is where you have to get your yardage book out and your notebook out, because there's been some pitching and where the ball's released and hasn't held. Others where it bites.
Yeah.
And so you have to know your grain, you have to have done your homework properly.
Great chip there from Damian Jordan. That should be a birdie for him. Jake Mcleod back on the tee. Hasn't been the day Mcleod was hoping for. Level par on the day. Great swing, Jake Mcleod. Big fan. The way he just slots it on the inside, coming down. Sure where that one's finished, looking ominously down the right-hand side.
So this for birdie. Oh, comes up short. Can't go in the hole if you don't hit it hard enough. And yeah, and there's the reaction you would expect. An opportunity gone begging. So Chris Muir stays at 9 under.
Brett Rankin on 17. That said for a birdie, I've got a feeling that was for a par for Brett Rankin. We saw him pitch it 20 feet short. And, oh, not happy.
Well, welcome into the studio. A man who today shot 63. Great day out there, Steve Jeffris. Welcome, and thanks for joining us.
No problem, thank you.
Talk us through it. We saw, firstly, I'm going to start with the negative because it's always better to end with the positive. We saw you miss a putt on 10, and you're opening up the back nine and you think, oh, well, here's my opportunity, and you don't make your birdie there, but then you put the foot down and you came home strong.
Yeah, 10 was disappointing, not only the putt, but I was in the centre of the fairway, which I haven't been in all week. I've been in the left bunker and the right tree. So the centre of the fairway, I had a 5-iron in. From there, it's really a par 4. So to make 5, I was pretty disappointed. But I played really nicely. I actually left some out there, surprisingly, on the greens. I putted solid, but I left some out there.
Well, there's lots of red, and we like that. That's your card today. So got off the first with a nice par, birdied 3, birdied 8 and 9, and then you would have thought, okay, here I go, as we talked about.
Yeah, well, the beauty of missing that putt on 10 is you've got 8 more opportunities, and this golf course, you've got 8 more opportunities. They're shortish holes, and you get them on the fairways, you're in a good chance to make birdie. So I knew I had plenty more opportunities, so I said a few swear words to myself and just...
Good, we didn't hear them. We didn't have to apologise on your behalf.
Just gave myself a bit of a ribbing there for a minute, but got over it and moved on and was lucky enough to make 4 more coming in.
I'll roll with the positive. When we came on air, first shot we saw, your approach into 9.
Yes.
Was that your, obviously a good shot, but I'm assuming that was your caddy, Robin Beecher's fantastic measurement there and club selection?
Well, you're staying at the Beecher household coming up, eh? You want some free dinners. But I had 165 in there, and Rob helped me with the wind and said we worked out the wind was coming just straight out of the right, which is a perfect 6-iron for me. So I just went and hit it just right of the flag, and that's my distance, that kind of 2-3 inches. I hole about 90% of that.
I was saying to Todd, that was a pretty straight putt, but an interesting one, trying to tap into your mentality here. You start the day 7 under par, 12 unders leading. Guys are shooting 61, 63, 64s. You're 3 under par through 9, going along nicely, but then you make a par on 10 and you see, at that point you're 10 under, you see guys that are 15 under par, 16 under par. You've been out here quite a while now and you've had a lot of success. At that point, do you press? Are you pushing hard? Are you thinking, guys are 16 under par, geez, I need to get to 20 under, which is what you had mentioned this morning when we had a coffee. You said you thought 20 under was the winning score. Are you, at that point, are you frustrated? Are you anxious? Are you thinking, it's not where I need to be, and then you press and push the issue?
Yeah, definitely. As I said to you this morning, 20 under par, and where I started, being 7 under, you got to make, you feel like you got to make everything. So even on 17, when I missed my birdie putt on 17, I was frustrated because I knew I need everything to get to that 20. Now I'm still well within reach of that. It's still going to take a good one tomorrow, but that's what happens when you start a little bit back from the leaders.
That was Damian Jordan's tee shot on the 18th that we just saw there. I want to ask you about your grouping today, because Ewan talked about your experience out there, your ability just to play in your own little bubble and go along. You're playing with 2 youngsters that are just making their way out here who didn't have probably the day that they were hoping for. What's it like for you being in that scenario?
Yeah, it's... the guys I had today, Nick and Maverick, they're a couple of really nice guys. Really, I've known Maverick. I met him at the Asian Q School, and I really like Maverick, and I met Nick for the first time. He's the same, and they were actually asking me questions, and that kind of doesn't happen with a lot of the younger golfers now. And I'm more than happy to, use or give them a bit of my experience, whether it's good or bad. But they're a couple of great guys. They're into me because they hit it past me, but I'll let you know, I just snuck it past Maverick on the last there, so I let him know when the scorer's hut.
So 63 to Mav 70, there's a big difference.
Yeah, well, that's what the scorer said. I told the scorer that they would give me a hard time, and the scorer said, what did they shoot? And I went, I'll just sit here and just let this play out. So
I think it's a great opportunity for youngsters like Nick Voke and Maverick Antcliffe to really see how it's done from a pro's pro. Because coming through the amateur ranks, playing with the younger guys, no doubt these days they're playing with guys who just bomb it and just hit driver everywhere and have an abundance of talent. But, when you get into the pro ranks, you've got to be able to do it week in, week out. And sometimes, I know from experience, sometimes that just thrash it and find it mentality doesn't work. For the sake of longevity, they get to see firsthand exactly what it takes to be able to play year in, year out here on tour.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about score. That's what it's about, and that's what I base my game on and my practice on, and it's all about score. So hopefully they walked away and learned something about, old fella didn't hit as far, didn't have as much firepower, all that sort of thing, but geez, how did he shoot 7 under? And
do you find it difficult? Do you find it intimidating playing with guys? I think a couple of weeks ago at the Vic Open, correct me if I'm wrong, you played with Simon Hawkes when he had a 62. Do you find it intimidating at all, the other side of the spectrum?
No, I don't. I've been out here long enough not to let it bother me, and I actually mentioned that. Rob and I spoke about that earlier today, and I just don't let that bother me. If I let that stuff bother me, I won't be here for long. So I just focus on what I do. It's an old cliche. Focus on what you do best, and just add them up at the end of the day. And most of the time, if you do that, I know I'll probably add them up, and I'll be most of the time less than some of the other guys.
Oh, indeed. Currently off your 63 today, sitting at tied third. We're watching you guys finish off here on the 18th. Talk us through the 18th, because we've just we saw a tee shot there, Brett Rankin coming off there. Big elevation changes. We look back up the hill.
I actually said to Maverick walking down, this tee shot is one of the hardest we play on the Australasian tour. And a few guys might laugh at that, but basically what happens is if you get the ball going left or right from the elevated tee, you're in the trees. Now, you're not going to lose your ball, but if you're in the trees, you're chipping it out. So
that's Kieran Muir there.
Yeah, Chris is a good driver of the ball. So it's just where it's elevated into the wind, trees both sides. If you get it going the wrong way, it just doesn't come down, finishes in the trees and you chip out. So effectively, it's almost a hazard both sides of the fairway. That's the way I think of it.
We're back on camera here, so look to all your fans and friends out there like that. Talk us through tomorrow and what your mindset about that will be. If we look at the leaderboard at the moment, you sit 2 behind, probably not going to sit any more than 3 behind, I would think. If you're unlucky, it might be more than that, but it's a good position. And how are you going to approach it?
Yeah, well, my goal hasn't changed to get to 20. I think if I get to 20, the last day, guys are trying to win tournaments for some of the first time. I'm lucky I've won tournaments, so hopefully I'm going to use that experience and know, well, if I get to 20, maybe the guys up the top coming down the stretch might not find it as easy. So my goal hasn't changed to get to 20, and if it happens I get to 20 through X amount of holes, well, I'll reevaluate and put that to 22 or 23. So my goal is going to be just to keep moving forward.
You playing in New Zealand the next couple of weeks?
Not playing next week, but I'm playing the New Zealand Open. I love it down there in Queenstown, so I can't wait to go down.
You'd go anyway, wouldn't you, just for the views?
just for the views.
That was Aaron Price on the 17th tee, currently tied for second at 15 under, 3 under for his round today.
I played with Price the last couple of days, and he's playing really nicely. He'll be there somewhere tomorrow, I've got no doubt.
Brett Rankin, his approach into 18, coming off that sloppy bogey on 17.
Oh, that's a nice one. Good birdie opportunity. What about this green here? Because visually from back down the fairway, it's one of the more intimidating looks.
Yeah, it is. It's a really good finishing hole. Once again, I was speaking to Maverick about it, and the clubhouse in the background and the slope down, and where that pin is, you can only see the top 2/3 of the flag, and you see the bunker and the bunker at the back. So it is intimidating. It's a good great finishing hole.
And when they redesigned the club here, they did a beautiful job with the clubhouse, being able to open up all the windows at the back of the clubhouse and make it as a grandstand finishing hole for all the members to be able to come out and watch. This is Josh Younger back on 17.
The ideal shot from the tee here, a slight fade.
Yeah,
Steve?
yeah, little fade.
Fairway slopes a little bit right to left.
Yeah, little fade.
Maybe not that big.
Maybe not that big, but a little fade off the bunkers. But you can get out there, and if you get a bit of a gap, you can just hit a low 2-iron and run something up 30 or 40 short of the green. But on the other hand, there are some thick bushes out there, and if you get up one of those, it's not great.
It's a fairly tight driving course, isn't it? But the thing that I like, having been around here, the thing that I enjoy about this golf course is the fact that you can take it on if you want. You can hit driver on the majority of holes and reap the benefits if you hit a good shot, but you can be certainly punished as well.
Yeah, definitely. I know some young fellas that bomb it a mile that unfortunately miss the cut, and I sometimes sit back and say, how can that happen? But they've obviously just taken that approach where they're just taking driver everywhere, and if they drive it straight, they're probably a great chance of winning. If they don't drive it straight, they head home.
I was about to say on this course, you don't lose a lot of golf balls, but they're out of bounds that are some tight areas. And you had a rough start yesterday, but pulled it back beautifully. And the first hole here, if you just keep it that little bit left, can run through into some trouble.
Yeah, well, Roger Federer would have been happy with my top spin lob there on the first hole yesterday. It started left and went further left, and finished out of bounds. But I clawed it back, and once again, maybe that's the experience, just staying in the moment, knowing there's plenty of opportunities, and it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So but it's. I actually said to Rob today after I had a good drive down to first, I said, this is much better than yesterday, isn't it?
What about, you played in Victoria 2 weeks ago down at 13th Beach. You played in Perth at Lake Karrinyup last week. Here we are in Toowoomba this week at almost 700 metres above sea level. How, for the average person out there watching who doesn't get to play week after week, how difficult is it playing in different conditions, different climates, different elevations, different golf courses, different grasses? It's not as easy as what people think, just hitting a golf ball.
No, it's not. As you said, we come from Melbourne, where the ball runs, and the 13th Beach was in beautiful condition, and the greens were bouncing and it was quite firm. Perth, the greens were soft, but the surrounds were really tight. Here at City Golf Club, the kayak, the ball sits up a lot more, so there's completely different chipping actions, and the ball just reacts completely different. So it is difficult, but that's where your practice rounds and pro-ams are so important.
That's right, and Todd and I have been speaking about that throughout the coverage.
That's
Great
a great
bunker shot. Yeah, Damian Jordan on 18. He hit a lovely chip shot on 17, so his short game's certainly in full effect right now. But yeah, I don't think too many people really understand what you just made mention about, how there are different techniques to chipping, even chipping and bunker shots. It's vastly different here. You've got bunkers with not much sand and chipping off really spongy grass.
Yeah.
If you use the same technique for both, you'd be having trouble with one, maybe not the other. So you really have to vary it up.
Yeah, well, last week in Perth there was quite a bit of sand in some of the bunkers, so you don't open the face as much. You kind of get it. Well, I like to get a little bit. Well, if I'm hitting flop shots, a little bit squarer. Where here, it's a little bit hard. I've only got a small amount of bounce on my wedge, so I can open it up a bit and feel like I can get a bit closer to the ball and feel like I hit almost like a long chip shot, like a nip shot, and the ball spins. So, but there's plenty of different ways to play it, and it is difficult. Different golf courses and different grasses, but that's what we do, and we've got to adapt.
So that was Darren Beck's third shot into 17.
Having a great back nine, Darren Beck made the turn at -10. That putt to get to -16 on the 17th hole. Jake Mcleod chipping 17. I believe this would be his third shot. Even par on the day. Would love to chip this in.
He's another great kid that he comes up and asks me questions. We have a bit of banter between us, but he's gonna be a force in golf at some stage. He's a great young kid, and he's very confident, but a nice, humble kid as well.
So Chris Muir there. Will tap in to finish off his round on the 18th. And a round of 1 under 69 has him sitting at 9 under.
Brett Rankin has been very steady all day. And that sloppy bogey at 17 was just short of the green in 2. Chipped on and 3 putted. Wasn't a happy man walking off the green, but this for a birdie to get to 15 under par. And just misses on the low side.
I remember playing with Lee Jansen on numerous occasions, but one occasion he had made bogey, then made birdie. He said, "Oh, that's good, you've picked that shot back up." He says, "You never pick them back up." He says, they're gone. It's just one I got. It was interesting, we talked about psychology, Ewan, and an opportunity slips by there for Brett Rankin, but how you approach your mental game when you're out there, when you make bogeys, and starts like you did yesterday, and how you have to keep your mind in it.
Well, you've got to be the eternal optimist. That's what being a golf pro is all about. Is you never know what's coming. So you just got to keep believing that good stuff's going to come. But he's right. You never get them back, but you try not to think that way.
So he rings the bell so the next group can come through. So let's go back to 17. Matt Miller for birdie.
This is actually on 17, up the hill. Oh, nicely done from Matt Miller. And here's a player we've seen Matt Miller play the majority of the back nine today. He's missed a couple of chances, but never looked too despondent or down on himself. And obviously we've spoken quite a bit about how he knows how to get the job done, and he wasn't rattled by those missed chances. Here he is, 13 under, and he's currently only 3 behind.
Well, Matty and I are from the older brigade out here, but we've got very similar games. We drive it pretty straight. We keep our head on our shoulders most of the time, and in a golf course like this, that's what you need to do.
So birdie putt here for Darren Beck, chance to tie for the lead.
Just outside right.
That's where he started it. It's just lacked a little bit of speed, so you would have hit that just slightly firmer and it would have gone in the middle.
That's maybe why I missed a few.
We've seen a little bit of putting today. Speed is obviously always crucial, but we've seen a lot of players be short of holes, and we've seen a lot of putts turn if you haven't kept your weight up.
Definitely. I missed maybe 3 from 5 foot, and they were just under speed, where it just ripped across the front of the hole, so you must keep your speed up.
Now he's been over par all day, Jake Mcleod. That birdie gets him to 1 under par for the round. Now he was minus 10. Have to do some investigating there. I thought that was for birdie to get him to 11.
How's the man bun?
We mentioned that before. You're gonna try and grow that?
Oh, things might get a bit weird if I do that, I think so.
Let's take a look at the leaderboard. Josh Younger still with the 1-shot lead. Darren Beck not quite catching him there on the 17th. Steve Jeffris, who's with us at the moment, 7 under, 63 today to sit at 14 under. Currently sits at 4th place.
Daniel Fox there at 14 as well. He's a winner on the Australasian PGA Tour, as too is Matthew Miller and Jordan Mullaney, one of those new names, 12 under par. Michael Choi joined us before. He had a 63 as well. Nathan Green, winner on the PGA Tour, there at 10 under par.
So that's how things stand at the Queensland PGA Championships. We're going to take a very quick break. Thank you to Steve Jeffris for being with us. Congratulations on a good round today. Hope it goes just as well for you tomorrow.
Thanks, boys. I enjoyed coming in.
We'll be back in just a moment. More live golf from the City Golf Club here in Toowoomba.
Hi, I'm Peter Lunnard.
I'm Aaron Townsend.
I'm Dave Branston. I'm from Sale Golf Club and you're watching PGA TV.
On Overboost, the Amarok V6 delivers 33 kilowatts more power than all those other utes. And now, with 3.5-ton towing and starting at $54,990 drive away, there's never been a better time to own one.
An all-you-can-eat Sunday breakfast buffet for under $20? Well, of course, it would have to be the City Golf Club. Treat the family and enjoy all your breakfast favourites every Sunday, along with some special Asian dishes too. Sunday breakfast at the City Golf Club. Sensational!
G'day, I'm My Golf Ambassador Jason Day. Welcome to My Golf, the first step for kids to learn the game. You'll have an awesome time